Who are you? You are courting death. An expert from the 10 Directions sword sect shouted and charged towards the 3 rainbow lights. Chi. A few claw radiances flew out and tore a few 6th martial ancestor realm experts from the Xueqi sword sect into pieces. Whoosh, whoosh. When the rainbow lights dissipated, 3 figures appeared in the air. It's you? The Marquis of Champion Tianyun. Someone shouted the moment the 3 figures appeared. Everyone in the Mystic Essence sword sect who was in the midst of a fierce battle was shocked. They could not help but look over. The Marquis of Champion Tianyun was famous in the Blazing Sun Empire. But why did he suddenly appear here? The 3 figures who had suddenly appeared were Lu Ming, Yan Quan, and the Golden Eye Blood Zombie. The Immortal Gazing Pass was not far from the Mystic Essence sword sect. Lu Ming led 30,000 red blood armored cavalry, and finally arrived at the Mystic Essence sword sect after more than a day's journey. At this moment, Lu Ming, Yan Quan, and the Golden Eye Blood Zombie were the first to arrive at the Mystic Essence sword sect. Lu Ming could not help but speak when he saw Duanmu Lin's arrogant look. Duanmu Lin's face turned serious as he looked at Lu Ming. Duanmu Lin naturally knew of the Marquis of Champion Lu Ming's name. Moreover, Lu Ming had killed the Xueqi sword sect's genius, Qiu Chonglai. Duanmu Lin did not dare to underestimate Lu Ming. This guy actually came here. What about his red blood armored cavalry? Qiu Wuyang's face changed slightly. During this period of time, Qiu Wuyang knew that Lu Ming had led the red blood armored cavalry to the north of the Blazing Sun Empire to rescue Xueqi. However, he had been busy dealing with the Mystic Essence sword sect, so he did not send anyone to deal with Lu Ming. In his opinion, Lu Ming was just fooling around. After he dealt with the Mystic Essence sword sect in the Red Cloud Valley, he could easily kill Lu Ming and his red blood armored cavalry. It's him. Lin Xue's eyes flickered, revealing a complicated expression. Tianyun, what are you doing here? Qiu Wuyang's voice came from the sky. Of course I'm here to kill you all. Lu Ming smiled faintly. As soon as these words came out, the hearts of everyone present trembled. Come to kill Qiu Wuyang and the others? What an arrogant tone. Ha ha ha, Marquis Champion Tianyun. You are indeed heroic. However, in my opinion, you have lost your mind because of your heroic spirit. Well, it is normal for you to lose yourself in your achievements at such a young age. You still want to kill us? What a joke. How about this? I see that you are a talent. If you join me now, I can consider putting you in an important position. In the future, you can become the Marshal of the Army and guard the Blazing Sun Empire. Qiu Wuyang said. What bullshit Marshal of the Army? Do you think I care about that? Qiu Wuyang, to be honest, I am more interested in your head. Lu Ming sneered. Presumptuous. You are courting death. Qiu Wuyang's face turned cold as murderous intent burst out from his eyes. He waved his hand and a shocking sword radiance slashed down at Lu Ming. Not good, Qiu Wuyang. You are shameless. Lin Xue's face changed and was about to help. Lin Xue, your opponent is me. Duanmu Songhai moved and blocked Lin Xue. On the other side, Yin Tianjue also stared at Shangguan Ming, preventing him from helping. What Marquis Champion? You dare to oppose me? You overestimate yourself. Dang! Qiu Wuyang's eyes were cold. However, facing Qiu Wuyang's sword radiance, Lu Ming's face was very calm as he stood there without moving. It's over. Marquis Champion Tianyun, the hero of his generation, is he going to be killed like this? Many people sighed. No one thought that Lu Ming could survive. Qiu Wuyang was a half-step king, and only a half-step king could block the attack of a half-step king. However, how many half-step kings were there in the vast Blazing Sun Empire? At the very most there were only a dozen or so. Now, who could save Lu Ming? Then, a scene that left everyone flabbergasted appeared. Beside Lu Ming, Yan Quan stepped out and punched out. Boom! Chapter 344. Bang! With a loud explosion, the fist energy and the sword light clashed, canceling each other out. Half-step king. That's a half-step king. Someone roared. Many people were shocked. They didn't expect that there would be a half-step king beside Lu Ming. Who are you? Qiu Wuyang's expression turned grave. Every half-step king was famous, and they were the overlords of a region. He knew every one of them, but he didn't recognize Yan Quan. Who am I? Well, it doesn't matter if I say it. I am Yan Quan. Yan Quan grinned and said, What? You are Yan Quan? Then this little bastard is the one who destroyed the Mo family and killed my son. As soon as Yan Quan's words fell, Yin Tianjue roared and looked at Lu Ming with a sinister expression. During this time, he had sent people to investigate, but they couldn't find the culprit. He only knew that Yan Quan had escaped. Now that Yan Quan had appeared in this place, the answer was obvious. Yin Tianjue, what are you shouting for? Your Yin Moon royal family is despicable and shameless. Today, I will settle this with you. Yan Quan looked at Yin Tianjue with killing intent. He took a step forward and confronted Qiu Wuyang and the others. The auras of 6 half-step kings intersected, forming a huge domain. Those below half-step king couldn't even get close. At this moment, Lu Ming looked at Duanmu Lin and said with a faint smile, Duanmu Lin, I just said that you won't have the chance to rise. Today you will die. Tianyun, if you and I fight, both of us will suffer. I advise you to join the 10 Direction Sword faction. Now that the 10 Direction Sword faction is established, even if you have a half-step king protecting you, you won't be able to affect the overall situation. Duanmu Lin looked at Lu Ming and said, with Tianyun's reputation, he didn't want to fight with him unless it was absolutely necessary. Both of us suffer? With just you? You really think highly of yourself. Lu Ming revealed a mocking smile. One move is enough to defeat you. Lu Ming took a step forward and approached Duanmu Lin. Arrogant. Let's see how you can defeat me in one move. Great Sun Thunder Saber Slash. Duanmu Lin roared and slashed out with his saber. The terrifying saber light was even more scorching than the sun, explosively slashing towards Lu Ming. Beast Dao Palm. Lu Ming whispered and struck out with his palm. A huge beast claw appeared and charged towards Duanmu Lin. Bang! The beast claw collided with the saber light. The saber light was extinguished like a wisp of smoke. The beast Dao Palm's momentum did not stop. It carried astonishing power as it blasted towards Duanmu Lin. How could this be? Duanmu Lin yelled out in disbelief. He then unleashed his bloodline in a frenzy. Channeling all his strength, he slashed out with his saber. Block it for me. Duanmu Lin let out a deep roar. The sharp saber light condensed into a sun. However, this sun was like a bubble that was extinguished by the beast Dao Palm. Bang! Subsequently, the beast Dao Palm landed on Duanmu Lin's body. Duanmu Lin let out a blood-curdling scream as he was sent flying over 1,000 meters away. He coughed up blood non-stop, and his entire body trembled. His clothes were tattered, and who knew how many of his bones were broken. Lin her. High up in the sky, Duanmu Songhai yelled worriedly. So powerful. Even overlords like Yin Tianjue and Shangguan Ming were startled. Lin Xue's gaze was even more complicated. So powerful. Tianyun is too powerful. In all directions, Yanlan, Mulan, and the others were incomparably shocked. The battle continued, but everyone's attention was attracted to the battle. As martial ancestors, they were able to see the battle from a few dozen miles away. I've said that I'll defeat you in one move. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Impossible. Impossible. Duanmu Lin couldn't take it anymore and yelled. He was a peerless genius, but he was defeated by Lu Ming in one move. It was a huge blow to him. Below, Lu Yao was also in disbelief. In her eyes, Duanmu Lin was invincible, but he was defeated by Tianyun in one move. There's actually such a genius in this world? Even Duanmu Lin was defeated in one move. The marquis champion is indeed worthy of his reputation. Lu Yao thought to herself. She looked at Lu Ming and her eyes shone brightly. The second move is to kill you. Lu Ming chuckled and took another step forward. At the same time, his body emitted a cold killing intent. Tianyun, how dare you? Duanmu Songhai yelled and wanted to save him. Duanmu Songhai, I'm your opponent. Lin Xue's aura locked onto Duanmu Songhai. Tianyun, we have no feud in the past. Why do you have to kill me? If you kill me, the Duanmu family won't let you off. Why do you have to seek trouble for yourself? Duanmu Lin yelled in horror. Ha ha ha, no feud? No feud? Duanmu Lin, you have a bad memory. I've said that I'll return to the Mystic Essence Sword sect and kill you within 2 years. Why? Have you forgotten it so quickly? At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly laughed and his voice changed back to his original voice. What? You're... Duanmu Lin's eyes shrunk and he was shocked. Lu Ming wiped his face and took off his disguise, revealing a handsome face. At the same time, his bones shifted and he returned to his original appearance. Lu Ming, how could it be you? Duanmu Lin screamed hysterically when he saw Lu Ming's real face. This was too hard for him to accept. The champion Marquis Tianyun was actually Lu Ming, the Lu Ming that he looked down on. He would rather lose to Tianyun than Lu Ming. This was a blow to his heart that was 10 times, no, 100 times worse. Lu Ming is back. In the distant sky, Yanlon, Mulan, and the others were greatly shocked when they saw this scene. Then they were ecstatic beyond belief. Ha ha ha, this kid is actually Tianyun. This is too shocking. Yanlon laughed. How could this be? Duanmu Pajuan, who was fighting against Yanlon, shouted in disbelief. Lu Ming, you're finally back. I knew you would come back and fulfill your promise. Mulan's eyes were filled with joy. Lu Ming is back. Lu Ming is the champion Marquis. He's Tianyun. Both the disciples and elders of the Mystic Essence Sword sect couldn't help but shout. This news quickly spread throughout the entire Mystic Essence Sword sect and the entire battlefield. No one would have thought that the world-renowned champion Ho Tianyun was actually the same Lu Ming who barged into the White Tiger courtyard and killed Lu Yunxiong and dozens of people from the Duanmu family more than a year ago. In the end, he was forced by the Duanmu family to withdraw from the Mystic Essence Sword sect. Many people still remembered the determination that Lu Ming had when he left the Mystic Essence Sword sect and the promise that Lu Ming had made. He would definitely return and kill Duanmu Lin within 2 years. Now, it hadn't even been 2 years. In just a little more than a year, Lu Ming had returned. He had returned in a shocking manner. Duanmu Lin had been defeated by him in one move. The return of a king. A true king, no matter where he went, no matter what identity he used, was destined to not be buried and would shine brightly. Lu Ming is back. As expected, I'm not as good as him. In the Azure Dragon Institute, Zhang Muyun sighed. Haha, I knew he would return. Chapter 345. It's really him. In the sky, Lin Xueqi revealed a bitter smile. At this moment, Lin Xueqi regretted it. Back then, he had chosen the Duanmu family and given up on Lu Ming. However, the facts had proven that he was wrong. The Duanmu family rebelled and at the crucial moment, Lu Ming came back to rescue them. His feelings were extremely complicated. Damn it. I should have killed him back then. Duanmu Songhai's face was extremely gloomy. Among everyone, Lu Yao had the most complicated feelings and found it hard to accept. At this moment, Lu Yao's body was trembling violently. She looked at the familiar figure in the sky in disbelief. No, it's impossible. It can't be Lu Ming. How can Tianyun be Lu Ming? Lu Yao screamed incoherently. Not long ago, she was still thinking that it was a pity that Lu Ming wasn't here and couldn't see the difference between him and Duanmu Lin. She was proud that she had chosen Duanmu Lin. However, in the blink of an eye, Tianyun appeared and defeated Duanmu Lin in one move. Now, she was actually told that Tianyun was Lu Ming. This was a huge blow to her. No, it's impossible. It's fake. Everything is fake. Lu Yao screamed. Her beautiful face was distorted and became ferocious. She couldn't accept this. In the sky, Lu Ming glanced at Lu Yao casually and ignored her as if she was a stranger. Duanmu Lin, I'll send you on your way. Lu Ming said softly. No, I can't die. Duanmu Lin screamed in horror as he tried his best to fly backward. Lu Ming, stop. Duanmu Songhai shouted. A powerful aura exploded from his body, and he wanted to save Duanmu Lin. However, he was entangled by Lin Xueqi.
Yanlong, get lost.
On the other side, Duanmu Pujuan also shouted and wanted to save Duanmu Lin. However, how could Yanlong let him do as he wished? Duanmu Pujuan, we haven't decided the winner yet. Where are you going? Yanlong sneered as he firmly blocked Duanmu Pujuan.
Stop him.
Yin Tianjue shouted. Whoosh, whoosh. A few of the experts he brought with him charged towards Lu Ming. Die! A long spear appeared in Lu Ming's hand.
With a thrust, the spear radiance shot out and the two experts of the 7th martial ancestor realm were instantly killed.
At the same time, the blood essence was devoured by Lu Ming. Lu Ming didn't stop as he rushed toward Duanmu Lin.
Stop him and let young Master Lin escape. The other experts of the Duanmu family rushed over, but unfortunately, the strongest was only in the 7th realm of the martial ancestor realm.
They were all killed by Lu Ming. In the next moment, Lu Ming appeared in front of Duanmu Lin.
No!
Duanmu Lin screamed in fear. Die!
Lu Ming whispered as he thrust out his spear.
Puchi! The spear pierced through Duanmu Lin's heart. Duanmu Lin's eyes immediately popped out like a dead fish. His eyes were filled with unwillingness and regret.
Immediately after, the vitality in his eyes quickly dissipated.
Never in his wildest dreams did he expect that he would die in Lu Ming's hands. More than a year ago, when Lu Ming left the Mystic Essence Sword sect, he said that he would return to the sect to kill him in 2 years. At that time, he didn't take it seriously. He didn't think that Lu Ming could catch up with him.
However, the reality was often very different from what one expected. Duanmu Lin was dead. Bam!
Lu Ming swung his long spear and Duanmu Lin's body flew out like trash.
No, Lu Ming, you deserve to die. You deserve to die.
Duanmu Songhai screamed hysterically in the sky. His voice was as shrill as a ghost's. Duanmu Lin was the hope of the Duanmu family. Now that his hope had been killed, Duanmu Songhai couldn't accept it. Old man, what are you screaming for? After I left the sect, you sent people to assassinate me. I swore that I would destroy the Duanmu family. Now it's your turn.
Gold-eyed, kill that old man.
Lu Ming shouted at Duanmu Songhai and then ordered the gold-eyed blood zombie. Roar! The gold-eyed blood zombie let out a heaven-shaking roar. Its body emitted a dense bloody light as it pounced at Duanmu Songhai.
You're courting death.
Duanmu Songhai roared and slashed at the gold-eyed blood zombie. A sharp sword light shot out, intending to split the golden-eyed blood zombie in half. However, the result shocked everyone. The gold-eyed blood zombie waved its claws and tore Duanmu Songhai's sword light into pieces. The gold-eyed blood zombie continued to charge at Duanmu Songhai with lightning speed. Half-step king? Another half-step king? Duanmu Songhai cried out in disbelief. Lu Ming actually had another half-step king by his side. How was this possible? Could half-step kings be cabbages? Even Lin Xueqi and the other half-step kings were stunned. Boom! Duanmu Songhai circulated his sword aura and erupted with his full power. Just now, he had only casually swung his sword. He thought that he could kill the gold-eyed blood zombie.
That was why his sword light was easily destroyed.
Kill! At this moment, Lin Xueqi coldly shouted. A terrifying sword aura burst out and a peerless sharp sword light pierced toward Duanmu Songhai. Ah! Lin Xueqi, you sneak attacked me. Despicable! Duanmu Songhai madly roared. He was incomparably terrified as he circulated his full power to resist. Don't even think about it. Qiu Wuyang and Yin Tianjue roared, wanting to help. However, Shangguan Ming and Yan Quan also made their moves. A great battle between half-step kings suddenly erupted. The entire heaven and earth suddenly erupted. Ah! An earth-shattering scream resounded through the entire Mystic Essence Sword sect. It was Duanmu Songhai. He was facing the gold-eyed blood zombie and Lin Xueqi together. Moreover, Lin Xueqi had launched a sneak attack. He was no match for them. With one move, the gold-eyed blood zombie tore a piece of flesh from his chest. Even his bones and organs could be seen. His right hand was missing. Lin Xueqi's sword light had cut off his arm from his shoulder, almost cleaving him in half. However, even if he managed to dodge, he was still half dead. Ah! Lin Xueqi, You're despicable and shameless. You actually launched a sneak attack. Duanmu Songhai roared. Killing a traitor doesn't need to be honorable. Kill. Lin Xue's killing intent surged. She hated the Duanmu family to the bone. She erupted with her full power and charged at Duanmu Songhai. Roar! The gold-eyed blood zombie also roared and charged at Duanmu Songhai. Save me! Duanmu Songhai was scared out of his wits. He desperately tried to escape. Unfortunately, even if Qiu Wuyang and Yin Tianjue wanted to help, they were powerless. Their opponents were not any weaker than them. Duanmu Songhai was already heavily injured, and his battle strength was greatly reduced. How could he escape? In the next moment, another miserable scream resounded. He managed to dodge the gold-eyed blood zombie's claw, but he failed to dodge Lin Xue's sword light. He was cleaved in two by Lin Xue's sword. After all, he was a half-step king with powerful vitality. Duanmu Songhai did not die immediately. He screamed in fear. Sect Master, spare my life. Please spare my old bones. Seeing that I've worked so hard for the sect for so many years, please spare me. Duanmu Songhai loudly begged. He actually called her Sect Master again. He was simply shameless. Indeed, the older one was, the more one feared death. Working hard for the sect? I think you've been working hard for yourself for so many years. Duanmu Songhai, I'll personally send you on your way. Lin Xue coldly shouted. Qi! A sharp sword qi violently slashed out. Duanmu Songhai let out a roar of despair as the sword qi cleaved through his head, cleaving him in two. Chapter 346. Father. In the distance, Duanmu Pajuan roared. Pang! As he was distracted, Yan Lan's palm landed on his chest. Duanmu Pajuan retreated madly as blood spurted out of his mouth. Die! Yan Lan chased after him and rained down a barrage of attacks. Duanmu Pajuan was heavily injured and could only block a dozen moves before his heart meridians were shattered by Yan Lan's palm. With a loud cry, he died unwillingly. Not good. Run. Seeing Duanmu Songhai killed, Qiu Wuyang roared and turned to leave. Qiu Wuyang, you will stay here today. Lin Xue roared as she merged with her sword and charged at Qiu Wuyang. Resplendent sword qi filled the void and blocked Qiu Wuyang's path of retreat. Shwa! Shwa! Two sonic booms resounded as Yen Quan and Golden Eye Blood Zombies figures flickered and appeared on the other side of Qiu Wuyang. Qiu Wuyang's face was gloomy as a trace of anxiety could be seen in his eyes. Damn it! Damn it! To think that I would fall to such a state today. Of all my calculations, I didn't expect that this Tianyun, no Lu Ming would have two half-step kings by his side. It's all Lu Ming's fault. Damn it! Qiu Wuyang roared inwardly as his eyes spun, trying to think of a countermeasure. With Duanmu Songhai's death, the only half-step kings on their side were himself, Yin Tianjue, and another expert from 10 Direction Sword Sect. As for Mystic Essence Sword Sect's side, they had Lin Xue, another half-step king, Shangguan Ming, Yen Quan, and Golden Eye Blood Zombie. In terms of peak battle strength, they were already at a disadvantage and could only retreat. Otherwise they would all die here. Bang! Run! On the other side, Yin Tianjue and Shangguan Ming exchanged a move and roared, calling out to the experts he had brought, intending to escape. Yin Tianjue, let's settle this today. Where are you going? Yen Quan saw that Yin Tianjue was about to leave and roared, abandoning Qiu Wuyang and charging at him. Damn it! Yin Tianjue roared as he erupted with all his strength and tried to escape. Clang! As soon as Yen Quan left, Qiu Wuyang's sword qi soared into the sky as the battle sword in his hand was exceptionally sharp. Boom! Even the powerful golden-eyed blood zombie was sent flying over 1,000 meters. Qiu Wuyang seized the opportunity to escape, but on the other side, an equally sharp sword qi slashed towards him. It was Lin Xue. Qiu Wuyang, you can't escape. Lin Xue's voice was cold. Damn it! Qiu Wuyang roared and fought back with all his might. However, after a few moves, he spat out a mouthful of blood. Roar! Roar! At this moment, a series of wolf howls came from the distant ground. Rumble! The earth rumbled as countless crimson blood-scaled wolves charged over. Lu Ming's Qi Xie cavalry arrived. Kill! The Qi Xie cavalry roared and charged towards the omnidirectional sword school's army. The 10-direction sword sect immediately sent out a powerful army to stop the Qi Xie cavalry. Even though this army was very strong and was made up of the elites of the 10-direction sword sect, they were nothing in front of the Qi Xie cavalry. The Qi Xie cavalry could be said to be armed to the teeth. Their equipment and weapons were all taken from the Martial King's storage ring by Lu Ming, and they were all of the best quality. With the addition of the Qi Xie cavalry, it was simply an army born for war. With just a few charges, the 10-direction sword sect's army was scattered into pieces. As the Qi Xie cavalry charged, corpses were everywhere and blood flowed like a river. Qiu Wuyang, your plan today is destined to fail. It is impossible for the 10-direction sword school to rule the Blazing Sun Empire. Lin Xueqi stared at Qiu Wuyang. Qiu Wuyang's face was extremely gloomy, and his eyes were filled with rage. He didn't say a word as he used all his strength to block the attacks of Lin Xueqi and Golden-Eyed Blood Zombie while looking for an opportunity to escape. Schoolmaster, I'll help you. At this moment, a loud roar resounded as a tall figure charged over and exchanged a blow with Golden-Eyed Blood Zombie. This person was the other half-step king of the 10-direction sword school. Your opponent is me. The half-step king of the Mystic Essence sword school also chased over. Schoolmaster, hurry up and leave. The 10-direction sword school can't do without you. Leave this place to me. The half-step king of the 10-direction sword school roared as his body emitted an intense purple light. His originally tall body actually expanded once again, burning his essence blood. He is going all out. Stop him. Lin Xueqi roared. Kill! 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 The half-step king of the 10-direction sword school roared as he slashed out 3 times. The might of these 3 slashes was unimaginable, infinitely close to a king's attack. Boom! 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 Golden-Eyed Blood Zombie, Lin Xueqi, and the half-step king of the Mystic Essence sword school were all sent flying several thousand meters away. Shwa! Qiu Wuyang seized the opportunity and turned into a beam of rainbow light, instantly traveling 10,000 meters and disappearing into the horizon in a few breaths. Lu Ming, Lin Xueqi, Qiu Wuyang, will sooner or later wipe out your entire sect. In the distance, Qiu Wuyang's voice was filled with killing intent. Boom! On the other side, Yin Tian used some unknown secret art and sacrificed an arm to repel the encirclement of Yan Quan and Shangguan Ming. He then turned into a beam of blood light and disappeared into the horizon. Damn it! Lin Xueqi roared as she set her sights on the half-step king of the 10-direction sword school. Although he had burned his essence blood and increased his battle strength greatly, he couldn't hold on for long before his essence blood ran out and was torn into pieces by the Golden-Eyed Blood Zombie. Lu Ming's figure flickered as he appeared in the air. Looking at the half-step king's corpse, Lu Ming sighed inwardly. The latter's essence blood had already been burned out. This was a half-step king, and the essence blood's energy was absolutely terrifying. For Lu Ming, it was a supreme treasure. Moreover, the essence blood of a half-step king was extremely condensed, and its essence dissipated very slowly. Any random jade bottle could preserve it for a long time. Before, Duanmu Songhai's essence blood had already been stored in a jade bottle by Lu Ming. He could keep it for later. Looking around, Lu Ming wiped his face and turned back into Tianyun's appearance. Red Blood Cavalry, listen to my order. Kill the 10-direction sword school's people without mercy. Lu Ming mercilessly gave the order, and his voice spread far and wide. Kill! Kill! The Red Blood Cavalry roared as their killing intent soared into the heavens. Kill! Lu Ming also roared as he charged toward the 10-direction sword school's martial ancestor realm experts with his long spear. At the same time, the Golden-Eyed Blood Zombie, Yan Quan, Lin Xueqi, and the other half-step kings also charged toward the 10-direction sword school's people. With so many half-step kings joining in, it was simply a massacre. Miserable screams rang out as a large number of experts were killed. Run, run! The 10-direction sword school's people had no desire to continue fighting. Even the school leader had run away, and the other side had so many terrifying experts. Staying behind to fight was simply courting death. They all screamed as they ran out of the Mystic Essence Sword School. The 10-direction Sword School's attack this time could be considered a total failure. Puff, puff. Lu Ming waved his long spear and killed a few powerful figures from the Duanmu family. Lu Ming specifically targeted the Duanmu family's people. In fact, the Mystic Essence Sword School's people were also targeting the Duanmu family's people. Even if the 10 Directions Sword School's people managed to escape, they would not let the Duanmu family's people go. Chapter 347. Chaos. The entire place was in chaos. Screams and curses filled the air. The Duanmu family members, in particular, screamed and fled frantically. "Don't leave me behind." A scream was heard not far away from Lu Ming. A few figures shot up into the sky in an attempt to escape. Swoosh, swoosh. Lu Ming's long spear jerked and a spear radiance shot out. The few martial ancestor realm 4th and 5th realm martial artists were easily killed by Lu Ming. With a flash of his figure, Lu Ming appeared on the other side. He looked down and frowned slightly. Below, Lu Yao lay limp on the ground with a look of despair. Duanmu Songhai, Duanmu Lin, Duanmu Pajuan. The higher-ups of the Duanmu family were killed one after another in front of her. Her dreams and future were completely shattered. "Lu Ming, it's all your fault. You destroyed me." Lu Yao lifted her head and looked at Lu Ming with reddened eyes. Her eyes were filled with hatred. "I destroyed you? What a joke." Lu Ming looked at Lu Yao and scolded coldly. "From the beginning to the end, I've never provoked you. You're the one who's been deceiving me, and you've even taken my bloodline. When I came to the Mystic Essence Sword sect, it was the Duanmu family who targeted me and tried to kill me. Now, you are saying that I destroyed you? Are you saying that I can only let you kill me and I can't fight back? What a joke. Lu Yao, let me tell you. You only have yourself to blame for everything." Lu Ming looked at Lu Yao and said slowly. His voice was calm and there were no fluctuations in his emotions. He was just stating a fact. "Only have myself to blame? Only have myself to blame. Ha ha ha." Lu Yao muttered to herself and then laughed maniacally. Swoosh, swoosh. At that moment, two figures appeared beside Lu Ming. They were Autumn Moon and Xian Yanqing. After laughing, Lu Yao calmed down and looked at Xian Yanqing and Autumn Moon. Autumn Moon and Xian Yanqing, one in a white dress and the other in a black dress, had a natural temperament. They stood in the air like peerless goddesses. Lu Yao had always prided herself on her beauty, but compared to Autumn Moon and Xian Yanqing, she was still lacking. In addition, Autumn Moon and Xian Yanqing exuded a powerful aura. When they stood next to Lu Ming, they looked like a couple of immortals. At this moment, Lu Yao's heart was extremely complicated. There was regret, resentment, and envy. Only have herself to blame. Yes, Lu Ming was right. She had only herself to blame. All of this was caused by herself. If she hadn't thought so much in the past, if she hadn't looked down on Lu Ming, despised him, and even deprived him of his bloodline because of his decadence, she wouldn't have pursued Lu Ming and stayed by his side obediently. Then, standing beside Lu Ming, the one who was envied by countless people wouldn't be anyone else but her. At this moment, she finally understood the meaning of the saying, "Don't look down on a poor young man." People would always have their ups and downs. But a low point was only temporary. As long as one didn't die, they would eventually rise. Envious of the prosperity and brilliance of others, but ignoring the brilliance and potential of those around me. In the end, it's all for nothing. Was I wrong? Perhaps I was really wrong. Lu Yao suddenly let out a long sigh. Huff, huff. Suddenly, the true qi in Lu Yao's body went berserk. Streaks of fiery true qi rushed out from Lu Yao's body. Puchi! Then, Lu Yao's body trembled and she spat out a mouthful of blood. Her qi rapidly weakened until she was like an ordinary person. Her cultivation was destroyed. Lu Yao had gone through so many ups and downs in such a short period of time. Her state of mind had gone through so many ups and downs that it actually caused her to collapse and her cultivation to be destroyed. Lu Yao collapsed on the ground. Her eyes were unfocused and filled with despair. At this moment, the scenes that had happened along the way appeared in Lu Yao's mind. She suddenly realized that only the 3 years she had spent with Lu Ming were truly happy. Later on, when she pursued more, it became even more tiring. After a while, Lu Yao suddenly burst into tears. She looked at Lu Ming and said, "Lu Ming, I'm sorry." "Fine." Lu Ming suddenly sighed and said, "One has to look to the side. Although the scenery in the distance is beautiful, it's just an illusion. It's like a dream flower. It's also a good outcome for you to be an ordinary person in the future." Then, Lu Ming called over an expert of the Xueqi cavalry and ordered, "Take her to an ordinary village nearby and let her live there for the rest of her life."
Yes.
The Xueqi cavalry accepted the order and carried Lu Yao away in a flash. A light breeze blew and a drop of sparkling tear floated towards Lu Ming.
Lu Ming opened his hand and the tear fell on his palm.
"That's good." Lu Ming whispered.
"What?
"You don't want to leave your old lover?" On the side, Xian Yanqing curled his lips and said, "Old lover?" Lu Ming smiled and said, "Aren't you my old lover?"
Me? Bah.
"Who's your old lover?" Xian Yanqing rolled his eyes at Lu Ming and said while gritting his teeth. However, her face was a little red. Autumn Moon blinked her watery eyes and looked at Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. She smiled gently and said nothing. There was no suspense in this battle. In the end, the Duanmu family was almost completely annihilated, and the Shifeng sword faction suffered heavy losses. Only a small number of people escaped. As for the dozens of experts that Yin Tianjue brought with him, they were all killed except for him. The 5 courtyards of the Mystic Essence sword faction were filled with ruins and corpses. The ground was dyed red with blood. The atmosphere was solemn. Although the Mystic Essence sword faction had won this battle, they had suffered heavy casualties. It could be said that the Mystic Essence sword faction's strength had dropped a lot after this battle. Due to the betrayal of the Duanmu family, the White Tiger courtyard was almost destroyed. Lu Ming walked among the dilapidated walls. "Marquis Champion! Marquis Champion!" The disciples of the Mystic Essence sword faction bowed respectfully when they saw Lu Ming. They were very conflicted. Lu Ming was the same as them, a disciple of the Mystic Essence sword faction. However, things were different now. Now, Lu Ming was the Marquis Champion, and he controlled the army. Moreover, he had 2 half-step kings as his subordinates. He had become an overlord of the Blazing Sun Empire, an overlord who was on the same level as Lin Xueqi. Lu Ming nodded in response. "Marquis Champion." Lu Ming saw Zhang Muyun in the Azure Dragon courtyard. Zhang Muyun was covered in blood, and Xueqi was beside him. "Brother Zhang, you're welcome." Lu Ming smiled. Lu Ming was happy that Zhang Muyun and Xueqi were fine. Although Lu Ming had not interacted much with the two, Lu Ming admired their characters. Many people died. Duan Gang also died in battle. Zhang Muyun sighed. His voice was solemn and sad. "Duan Gang died?" Lu Ming asked in a low voice. Duan Gang was the #1 genius of the Black Tortoise courtyard. He had once competed with them for the bronze ranking. He was a very straightforward youth. But now, he had died in battle. After chatting with Zhang Muyun for a while, Lu Ming left. After walking around, Lu Ming arrived at the Vermilion Bird courtyard. "Lu Ming!" Mulan's called out softly as she walked toward Lu Ming. Her eyes were filled with joy. Chapter 348. Senior Sister Mulan's. Lu Ming smiled and walked towards Mulan's. "Lu Ming, I was right about you. I haven't seen you for a long time. Your achievements are beyond my imagination. Now that you've become the Marquis Champion, should I call you Marquis when I see you?" Mulan's came to Lu Ming's side with a smile and teased him. After a year, Mulan's figure had become even more voluptuous. She was wearing a tight black gauze dress, which outlined a soul-stirring curve on her body. The faint body fragrance kept wafting into Lu Ming's nose. It was full of temptation. She was like a ripe peach. "Senior Sister Mulan's, you must be joking. In front of Senior Sister, I'm still the same junior brother," Lu Ming said with a wry smile. Mulan showed a satisfied smile, as if to say, "At least you know what's good for you." Then, Mulan's looked at Lu Ming carefully. A trace of longing flashed in her eyes, but no one noticed it. Whoosh! At this time, a figure flew over and appeared above them. It was a middle-aged man.
Marquis Champion, the sect leader has something to discuss with you in the conference hall. The middle-aged man respectfully cupped his fists and bowed. Okay, I'll be there soon. Lu Ming nodded. Thank you, Marquis Champion. The middle-aged man cupped his fists and thanked him, then left. Senior Sister Mullins, let's talk another day. Lu Ming said with a smile. Okay. Mullins nodded. Then, Lu Ming soared into the sky and went out of the Mystic Essence Sword Sect. The Xueqi cavalry's temporary barracks were here. Marquis. When Lu Ming came back, the Xueqi cavalry saluted him. Whether it was Lu Ming or Tian Yun, the Xueqi cavalry did not care about them. They only recognized one person, the Marquis Champion himself. Following which, Lu Ming brought the golden-eyed blood zombie and Yen Quan to the Mystic Essence Sword Sect's meeting hall. The meeting hall of the Mystic Essence Sword Sect was located in the depths of the 5 great academies. It was where the sect leader, the gold-robed elders, and the gold-ranked disciples cultivated. It was the core of the Mystic Essence Sword Sect. Back then, Lu Ming had stayed in the Mystic Essence Sword Sect for so long, but he had never come here. Now that he had left the Mystic Essence Sword Sect, he was here. The world was truly a wonderful place. The champion Marquis has arrived. Lu Ming had just appeared outside the meeting hall when someone announced his arrival. Then, dozens of figures walked out of the meeting hall. The one at the front was Lin Xueqi, and on the right was the only remaining half-step king of Ghost Moon Saber Sect, Shangguan Ming. On the left was another half-step king warrior from the Mystic Essence Sword Sect. Most of the others were the golden-robed elders of the Mystic Essence Sword Sect, as well as the deans of the Vermilion Bird, Black Tortoise, and Azure Dragon Academies. Feng Wuji was also among them. Ha ha ha, Marquis Champion has arrived. Please come in, and Brother Yen as well. Lin Xueqi laughed heartily as he cupped his fists towards Lu Ming and Yen Quan. His tone was extremely polite, completely treating Lu Ming as an equal. Greetings Marquis Champion. Greetings Senior Yen Quan. The gold-robed elders also cupped their fists. Their feelings were complicated. Lu Ming was once a disciple of the Mystic Essence Sword Sect, a heaven's pride. After entering the sect, he had set many records. But in the end, because of the Duanmu family, they had made Lu Ming leave the sect. But in such a short period of time, Lu Ming had made such great achievements all by himself. Even they had to bow their heads before Lu Ming. This was simply inconceivable. Sect leader Lin, seniors, there is no need to be so polite. Lu Ming said with a faint smile. Yen Quan was expressionless. As for the golden-eyed blood zombie, it naturally didn't have any reaction. It followed closely behind Lu Ming. The group walked into the meeting hall and took their seats. This time, it is all thanks to the Marquis Champion's timely arrival. Otherwise, the Mystic Essence Sword Sect would have been destroyed by the Decimo Sword Sect. Here, I represent all the disciples of the Mystic Essence Sword Sect to thank the Marquis Champion. At the head of the hall, Lin Xueqi stood up and thanked Lu Ming solemnly. Sect leader Lin, you are too polite. I just don't want the Decimo Sword Sect to unify the Blazing Sun Empire. Lu Ming smiled faintly. His attitude was indifferent. No matter what, I still have to thank the Marquis Champion. Lin Xueqi cupped his fists again and sighed in his heart. He was a little disappointed. It was obvious that Lu Ming didn't have a good impression of them. He originally wanted to let Lu Ming return to the Mystic Essence Sword Sect if possible. But now, looking at Lu Ming's attitude, it was impossible. Lin Xueqi composed himself and continued. Today, I invited the Marquis Champion here to discuss the current situation and what we need to do. Lu Ming nodded. This time, the Decimo Sword Sect was defeated. They will definitely not let it go and will come back. Moreover, the Decimo Sword Sect and Sky Fiend Sect have joined hands. Plus, they have occupied the imperial capital. No one is a match for the Decimo Sword Sect alone. Therefore, we must join hands with the Crimson Cloud Valley. Only then will we have the power to fight the Decimo Sword Sect. The most important thing now is to rescue the Crimson Cloud Valley. Some of the experts from the Sky Fiend Sect and Decimo Sword Sect have disappeared. They most likely went to deal with the Crimson Cloud Valley. What do you think, Marquis Champion and Senior Shangguan?
Lin Shui analyzed and then looked at Lu Ming and Shangguan Ming. I have no objections. As long as we don't let the Decimo Sword Sect succeed. Shangguan Ming said. I have no objections either. Lu Ming nodded. No one had any objections. They immediately sent out experts to support the Crimson Cloud Valley. Lin Shui went personally, Shangguan Ming volunteered, and Lu Ming sent Yan Quan. The three half-step kings led a large group of experts to attack the Crimson Cloud Valley. Lu Ming entered the Temple of Paragon and began to devour and refine the essence blood. In this battle, Lu Ming had devoured a large amount of essence blood and used it all to improve the Nine Dragons bloodline. His cultivation base had risen too quickly, and he still needed some time to polish it. Therefore, he used all his essence blood to improve the bloodline. Now Lu Ming felt that the Nine Dragons bloodline had reached the limit of the first tier of the King Realm. It would soon reach the second tier of the King Realm. With a wave of his hand, a jade bottle appeared. There were 9 drops of essence blood in the jade bottle. These 9 drops of essence blood were stored together, and they were incompatible with each other. They were like 9 resplendent rubies. This was the essence blood that Duanmu Songhai had left behind. He inhaled with his true qi, and a drop of essence blood flew out. At the same time, the Nine Dragons bloodline appeared and sucked the drop of essence blood into its mouth. Boom! After the drop of essence blood was sucked in, it was like a volcano erupting with terrifying energy. The Nine Dragons bloodline's body swelled rapidly. Roar! The Nine Dragons bloodline roared, and the sound rumbled, shaking the heavens and earth as it started to refine the essence blood. The essence blood of a half-step king contained too much energy. The endless energy was all absorbed by the Nine Dragons bloodline. Bas! Half an hour later, the Nine Dragons bloodline shook. There was only one silver chakra around its body. But now, a second silver chakra appeared. Second tier of the King Realm. The Nine Dragons bloodline reached the second tier of the King Realm. Half-step king essence blood is indeed terrifying. Chapter 349. Just 1 drop of essence blood was enough to raise the Nine Dragons bloodline from King Grade Level 1 to King Grade Level 2. Continue. Lu Ming took out another drop of essence blood and swallowed it. This time, Lu Ming raised the second bloodline. The second bloodline was an ancient stone tablet. There seemed to be words on it, but they were blurry and Suemo couldn't see what they were. It seemed very mysterious. Until now, the second bloodline didn't seem to have any other magical effects other than increasing his combat strength when Lu Ming unleashed his power. This didn't match the level of a king-grade bloodline. Lu Ming guessed that this might be because the bloodline's level was too low. As long as the bloodline's level was raised, the second bloodline would definitely show some power. A gigantic stone tablet appeared. Surging blood essence energy was continuously channeled into the stone tablet. However, the second bloodline was now at King Grade Level 4. The amount of essence blood needed to raise it was too much. 1 drop, 2 drops. After refining a total of 7 drops, the second bloodline was raised to the limit of King Grade Level 4. Lu Ming continued to refine 2 more drops. Unfortunately, the second bloodline was still at the limit of King Grade Level 4. The bloodline's level is too slow now. A half-step king can only raise it by a little. Ordinary martial ancestor realm level 8 and 7 don't have much effect. The effect is better from martial ancestor realm level 9. Lu Ming pondered and was speechless. He really didn't know what kind of essence blood was needed to raise the bloodline. Martial king grade level? Thinking of this, Lu Ming was speechless. A day has passed. Let's go out and take a look. With a thought, Lu Ming left the Temple of Paragon. After he came out, he received news that Lin Shui and the others had returned. So fast. Lu Ming was surprised. Yan Quan then told him what had happened. It turned out that when Lin Shui and the others were rushing to the Crimson Cloud Valley, they ran into people from the Crimson Cloud Valley. They were rushing to the Mystic Essence Sword Sect. When they met, they found out that the Decimo Sword Sect and the Heaven Demon Sect had sent a large number of experts to besiege the Crimson Cloud Valley. However, the Crimson Heaven Valley had not been infiltrated by the 10 Directions Sword Sect. How could it be so easy to break through? However, the people from the Crimson Cloud Valley were also unable to come out. They were blocked. Even if they wanted to save the Mystic Essence Sword sect, they were unable to do so. Unexpectedly, after 2 days, the 10 Directions Sword sect and the Heaven Fiends sect suddenly retreated. Only then did the Red Cloud Valley send people to the Mystic Essence Sword sect to help. Everyone guessed that the Omnidirectional Sword sect had suffered a crushing defeat at the hands of the Mystic Essence Sword sect, which was why the experts besieging the Crimson Heaven Valley had retreated. Lu Ming nodded. The Scarlet Heaven Valley was fine. This was a great thing. Lu Ming and Yan Quan chatted for a while before Lin Xueqi sent someone to invite him to discuss some matters. This time, of course, it was to discuss their next course of action. After the discussion, the Mystic Essence Sword sect began to gather the various legions and experts in the area around the sect. It was the same for Scarlet Heaven Valley. 5 days later, Xueqi and Ming Meng led their armies to the Mystic Origin Sword sect. Lu Yuntian and Li Ping naturally came as well. Lu Ming arranged for Lu Yuntian and Li Ping to stay in the Mystic Essence Sword sect. This way, as long as the Mystic Essence Sword sect didn't fall, Lu Yuntian and Li Ping would be safe. The second day after Xueqi arrived, he announced to the world as the legitimate heir of the imperial family. In the announcement, Xueqi pointed out that Heavenly King Suppressing had colluded with the 10 Directions Sword sect and the Heaven Fiends sect to usurp the throne. They had killed the Burning Sun Emperor, Hua Zhengxing, and slaughtered the entire imperial family. Therefore, he gathered the righteous people of the world to fight Heavenly King Suppressing, the 10 Directions Sword sect, and the Heaven Fiends sect. After the announcement, Lu Ming was the first to respond. He was willing to lead the army to fight against the 10 Directions Sword sect. The Champion Marquis and the Scarlet Blood Cavalry were the first to respond. The world was shaken. Then, more and more people responded. Needless to say, the Mystic Essence Sword sect and the Crimson Heaven Valley's territory naturally listened to their orders. Many legions that originally belonged to the imperial family also rushed to the Mystic Essence Sword sect's territory to respond to Xueqi's call. Half a month later, Xueqi gathered an army of nearly 1 million soldiers. At this time, the Mystic Essence Sword sect in the east of the Burning Sun Empire and the Crimson Heaven Valley in the south of the Burning Sun Empire had formed a triangle. At this time, the 10 Directions Sword sect and the Heaven Fiends sect also made their move. They gathered their armies and began to attack. The two forces started a life-and-death battle. This battle lasted for a month. The Burning Sun Empire didn't have a true martial king. The strongest were half-step kings. Therefore, the battle wasn't one-sided. The battle was extremely intense. Although the 10 Directions Sword sect and the Heaven Fiends sect were a bit stronger than the Mystic Essence Sword sect, the Crimson Heaven Valley, and Lu Ming. However, because Lu Ming had brought Yan Quan and the Golden Eye Blood Zombie, they weren't at a disadvantage in terms of half-step kings. Even if the 10 Directions Sword sect was a bit stronger, it wouldn't be by much. It would be impossible for them to defeat Lu Ming's side in a short time. Thus, the two sides entered a stalemate. Added together, the two sides had over 8 million soldiers. During this period, the Crimson Blood Iron Cavalry was extremely eye-catching. They were undefeatable and had made great contributions. The 10 Directions Sword sect's face changed. However, they had a shortcoming. They only had 30,000 soldiers. Moreover, as the battles continued, their numbers were also decreasing. In a battle of millions of soldiers, it was hard for them to gain a decisive advantage. In Moon Empire, Zhennan King's mansion. A group of people was discussing something. Zhennan King, In Tianjue, was missing an arm. He sat on the main seat with a gloomy face. He seemed to be thinking, "King, why don't we send reinforcements to the 10 Directions Sword sect and wipe out the Mystic Essence Sword sect, the Crimson Heaven Valley, and Lu Ming?" A general asked. "Help the 10 Directions Sword sect? What good would that do for us?" Zhennan Wang smiled coldly, looking as if he had the pearl of wisdom in his hands. He said, "Isn't this good? The 10 Directions Sword sect is fighting among themselves. When both sides are injured, we'll lead the army and wipe out the Burning Sun Empire. We'll take over the whole empire." King is wise. 10 Directions Mountain. Conference Hall. There were dozens of people in the hall. They were all higher-ups of the 10 Directions Sword sect and the Sky Evil sect. Among them, Heavenly King Suppression and Qiu Wuyang were also present. Qiu Wuyang sat on the main seat. What's the situation now? Qiu Wuyang asked. Sect leader, the two armies are in a stalemate. Neither side can truly suppress the other. A golden-robed elder of the 10 Directions Sword sect reported. Moreover, the other side is very cunning and heavily guarded. We've sent assassins to assassinate the experts of the other side many times, but they were all discovered in advance and killed by us. Another golden-robed elder reported. Yeah, the most troublesome one is Lu Ming's Crimson Blood Iron Cavalry. They've caused a lot of casualties to our side. The golden-robed elder sighed. Bam! Chapter 350. At the mention of Lu Ming, Qiu Wuyang's face darkened, and his killing intent soared. It was all because of Lu Ming that the situation had turned out this way and the Shifeng sword sect was in such a passive state. Originally, Qiu Wuyang's plan was perfect, and he would have already unified the Blazing Sun Empire. It was all because of Lu Ming's interference that his plan was ruined. This Lu Ming must be eliminated as soon as possible. Qiu Wuyang gritted his teeth. It's difficult to eliminate Lu Ming. A golden-robed elder sighed. Lu Ming's battle strength was extremely strong, and he had a half-step king by his side at all times. It was almost impossible to kill Lu Ming. What about Yin Tianjue? Has he not responded yet? Qiu Wuyang asked. No, the emissary said that Yin Tianjue did not see him at all. Damn it! Yin Tianjue, that old fox, is waiting for us to both be injured so that he can reap the benefits. Qiu Wuyang roared. Sect Master, there's no need to be so worried. It won't take long to eliminate the Mystic Essence Sword Sect, Crimson Cloud Valley, and kill Lu Ming. At this moment, a clear voice sounded. As soon as this was said, everyone's gaze turned toward the speaker. This person was in his 20s, and it was Qiu Chongkong. Chongkong, do you have a solution? Qiu Wuyang asked. Haha, Sect Master, and all the other seniors here. Have you all forgotten that the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace is recruiting Emperor Heaven Divine Guards every 5 years? Qiu Chongkong smiled. The Emperor Heaven Divine Palace is recruiting Emperor Heaven Divine Guards? Qiu Wuyang was startled at first, but then he seemed to have thought of something and said joyfully, Haha, that's right. Look at me. I forgot about this matter. Chongkong, with that person's help, there's a great chance for you to join the Emperor Heaven Divine Guards. As long as you join the Emperor Heaven Divine Guards and borrow a bit of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace's power, the Mystic Essence Sword Sect, Crimson Cloud Valley, and Lu Ming can be destroyed with a flip of the hand. That's right, haha, why didn't I think of that? Some of the golden-robed elders of the 10 Directions Sword Sect also laughed heartily. As for the experts from Heaven Fiend's sect, they were puzzled. Brother Qiu, as far as I know, the Empyrean Divine Guards are recruited once every 5 years. The people they recruit are all peerless and monstrous geniuses. Furthermore, they are not recruited from the 36 countries of the Cloud Emperor, but from the entire eastern region of the Tianxian region. The eastern region of the Tianxian region is extremely vast. The Cloud Emperor mountain range where the 36 countries of Cloud Emperor are located is just a small part of it. There are many regions that are bigger than the Cloud Emperor mountain range. Geniuses are as common as clouds in the sky. It's not that I'm looking down on Nephew Chongkong. Nephew Chongkong's talent is naturally extremely shocking. However, it's still another matter if he wants to join the Tian Divine Guards. The Heaven Fiend Sect Master said. In the Divine Wilderness there were many large regions. The region where the Cloud Emperor mountain range was located was the Tianxian region. The Tianxian domain was incomparably vast and the Cloud Emperor mountain range was just an inconspicuous mountain range in the Tianxian domain. In the Blazing Sun Empire, Qiu Chongkong was able to suppress the other geniuses. Countless young geniuses were overshadowed by him. However, in the entire eastern region of the Tianxian region, he was nothing. However, Qiu Chongkong, Qiu Wuyang and the elders of the 10 Directions Sword Sect looked very confident. It was no wonder that the Heaven Fiend Sect Master was puzzled. Haha, Brother Zhua, there's no harm in telling you. Chongkong has been talented since young. When he was young, he was fancied by an important figure in the Tianxian region's eastern branch palace of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace and was taken in as an in-name disciple. All these years, That important figure would occasionally come to the 10 Direction Sword sect to teach Chongkong. Qiu Wuyang smiled proudly. What? Nephew Chongkong was taken in as an in-name disciple by an important figure in the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace? The Heaven Fiend sect leader stood up from his chair with a thud, almost roaring out loud. The Sky Suppression King and some other experts of the Heaven Fiend sect had the same expression. Shocking, it was too shocking. What kind of existence was the important figure in the Tianxian region's Eastern Branch Palace of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace? He actually fancied Qiu Chongkong and took him in as an in-name disciple. Although he was only an in-name disciple and not a true disciple, it was still shocking enough. No wonder Qiu Chongkong was able to lead the other geniuses by so much and even made it into the Emperor Cloud leaderboard. Not long ago, he even killed a genius on the Emperor Cloud leaderboard. So that's why. The Heaven Fiend sect master sighed and looked at Qiu Chongkong with envy. Haha, now we just need to withdraw our forces and maintain a stalemate with the Mystic Essence Sword sect. When Chongkong becomes an Emperor Heaven Divine Guard, we can use a little of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace's power and annihilate the Mystic Essence Sword sect in Crimson Cloud Valley in an instant. Qiu Wuyang laughed. Lu Ming, Lu Yuntian, the Martial King's treasure is mine. Let's see how long you can hide. Qiu Chongkong's eyes emitted cold-killing intent. Ever since the news that Tian Yun was Lu Ming spread, Qiu Chongkong had guessed that Lu Yuntian was Lu Ming's father, and that the one who had saved Lu Ming was Lu Yuntian. Lu Yuntian endured for so many years because he wanted to pass on the secret of the Martial Emperor's treasure to his son. Now, Lu Ming, you should already know about the secret of the Martial Emperor's treasure. All right. I'll pry the secret of the Martial Emperor's treasure from you. Qiu Chongkong's eyes flickered with ruthlessness. After a short while, Qiu Wuyang gave the order for the 10 Direction Sword sect to withdraw their forces and start their defense. They were waiting for the day when the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace would recruit Emperor Heaven Divine Guards. They did not have to wait for long. 1 month later, both sides stopped fighting. The higher-ups of both sides gave the order that even small conflicts could not occur. Those who disobeyed would be killed. This was because on this day, an envoy from the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace arrived at the Blazing Sun Empire. Whenever the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace was about to recruit Emperor Heaven Divine Guards, they would send out envoys to patrol the various empires and send out invitations to the geniuses. Only the geniuses who received the invitations could participate in the selection of the Emperor Heaven Divine Guards. With the arrival of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace's envoys, both sides naturally did not dare to start a war. They were afraid that the envoys would be displeased. Both sides were waiting for the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace's envoys to send out the invitations. In a secret room in the 10 Direction Mountain, Qiu Wuyang and Qiu Chongkong sat opposite each other. Chongkong, that Lu Ming's talent is extremely shocking. If he participates in the selection of the Emperor Heaven Divine Guards, he might be a threat to you. Although the threat is very small, you can't ignore it. Qiu Wuyang said. Lu Ming won't be able to receive the invitation. Qiu Chongkong said with a cold smile on his face. Won't be able to receive the invitation? Could it be your revered master from the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace? Qiu Wuyang's eyes flashed with joy. Qiu Chongkong shook his head and said, It's just a small matter. There's no need to trouble revered master. He's one of my senior brothers. I've already sent him a message. Lu Ming won't be able to receive the invitation. Qiu Chongkong said with a faint sneer. Haha, that's great. Chapter 351. A few days later. In the meeting hall of the Mystic Essence Sword sect, the higher-ups of the Mystic Essence Sword sect, the Crimson Cloud Valley, Lu Ming, Xueqi, and the others gathered to discuss. The selection of the Tian Divine Guards is an opportunity to break the stalemate between the Burning Sun Empire and the 10 Direction Sword sect. I reckon that the 10 Direction Sword sect will seize this opportunity to let Qiu Chongkong participate in the selection. Once Qiu Chongkong succeeds in joining the Tian Divine Guards, we will all be in danger. The first to speak was Lin Xue. That's right. The Tian Divine Guards have great power. When the time comes, they will use a little bit of their power. With Qiu Chongkong's talent, he might not be able to join the Tian Divine Guards. But the truth is unpredictable. Even if he becomes a reserve DT on Divine Guard, it will still be a hidden danger. The Crimson Cloud Valley Lord Ling Patian nodded. On our side, we also need someone to become a DT on Divine Guard to compete with Cho Chong Kong. Someone sighed. In the next moment, everyone's gaze focused on Lu Ming. On their side, only Lu Ming's talent was unparalleled. He might be able to compete with Cho Chong Kong. DT on Divine Guards? Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Logically speaking, he should stay away from the DT on Divine Palace because the Palace Lord of the DT on Divine Palace, Martial Emperor DE, was destined to be his mortal enemy. However, Martial Emperor DE was still very far away from the Tianxian domain. There was no need to worry at the moment. Moreover, Lu Ming also wanted to become a DT on Divine Guard. It was said that the DT on Divine Guards were all peerless geniuses from all over the world. They were unimaginably powerful. Only by clashing with these geniuses could one become stronger and stimulate one's potential to improve quickly. Seeing that Lu Ming was deep in thought, everyone looked at Lu Ming without saying a word. If Lu Ming did not wish to participate in the selection of the DT on Divine Guards, they would not force him. I am willing to go, but I don't know how to participate, Lu Ming said. Seeing that Lu Ming nodded, the others were overjoyed. Haha, it's easy to participate. Right now, the envoy of the Emperor Sky Divine Palace is patrolling the Blazing Sun Empire. Soon, he will send out an invitation to the geniuses of the Blazing Sun Empire. Only with an invitation can one participate in the selection of the Emperor Sky Divine Guards. The Valley Lord said happily. Oh, I see. Lu Ming nodded. Lin Xueqi. There are countless geniuses. But there are countless geniuses. But there are countless geniuses Divine Guards Divine Tian Divine. There are countless geniuses. Lin Xueqi stroked his beard and looked happy. Prepare DT on Divine Guards? Lu Ming was stunned. Could it be that Lin Xueqi thought that he wouldn't even be able to become a reserve DT on Divine Guard? Lin Xueqi seemed to have seen through Lu Ming's thoughts and explained, Marquis Champion, the eastern part of the Tianxian region is too vast. The Cloud Emperor mountain range we are in is just a small part of it. Outside of the Cloud Emperor mountain range, there are many regions that are bigger than the Cloud Emperor mountain range. Every region has many powerful empires. For example, the area near the Cloud Emperor mountain range is called the Qianjiang Water Region. There are more than 100 empires in this area. The most powerful one is an advanced one, which is 100 times more powerful than the Burning Sun Empire. There are many geniuses and monsters. This is just the Qianjiang Water Region. There are other stronger regions. Therefore the competition is fierce. Lin Xueqi sighed after saying that. That's right. In the past, when all the geniuses were annihilated, none of them became a reserve DT on Divine Guard. This year's batch is much stronger. However, I predict that there won't be more than 3 who can become a true DT on Divine Guard, and there won't be more than 10 who can become a reserve DT on Divine Guard. The Valley Master of the Red Cloud Valley sighed as well. Lu Ming was speechless when he heard that. There might not be more than 3 geniuses on the Cloud Emperor ranking who could become a true DT on Divine Guard. The competition was really terrifying. However, at the next moment, Lu Ming's eyes were burning with flames. His blood was boiling. Wasn't this what he wanted? To compete with geniuses and heroes, to break through the shackles, to achieve self-improvement, and to surpass himself continuously. Looking at Lu Ming's burning battle intent, Lin Xueqi and the rest looked at each other. They saw hope in each other's eyes. Now that the Burning Sun Empire had reached this stage, they could only place their hopes on Lu Ming. At this moment, Lin Xueqi's expression changed. He waved his hand, and a 10,000 miles voice transmission talisman appeared in his hand. When he saw the message in the 10,000 miles voice transmission talisman, he was overjoyed. He said, "The DT on Divine Palace's emissary has sent someone here. He must have sent an invitation. Let's go and welcome him." The group hurriedly walked out of the hall and flew outside. In the sky outside the Mystic Essence Sword sect, a young man stood alone in the void with his hands behind his back. The young man was about 26 or 27 years old.
He was wearing a purple robe and had a noble aura. I am the Mystic Essence Sword Sect Master, Lin Xueqi. Greetings to the D Tian Divine Palace's emissary. I am the Red Cloud Valley's Valley Master, Ling Patian. Greetings to the D Tian Divine Palace's emissary. Lin Xueqi and Ling Patian hurriedly cupped their fists and bowed. N. The purple-robed young man nodded indifferently. He glanced at Lin Xueqi and Ling Patian and said, "The Red Cloud Valley is also here. That's good. It saves me the trouble of making a trip." After speaking, 2 golden invitation letters appeared in the purple-robed young man's hand. With a wave of his hand, the 2 invitation letters flew towards Lin Xueqi and Ling Patian. Lin Xueqi and Ling Patian reached out to receive them. These 2 invitation letters, one for Feng Wuji and the other for Ling Yanqi. When the time comes, let them take the invitation letters and participate in the preliminaries at the Cloud Wilderness Empire. The purple-robed young man said indifferently. After speaking, the purple-robed young man turned and was about to leave. "Emissary, please wait," Lin Xueqi hurriedly called out. "Why? Do you have a problem?" The purple-robed young man turned around with a cold expression. "Emissary, may I ask why Lu Ming doesn't have an invitation letter?" Lin Xueqi asked carefully. "Lu Ming?" The purple-robed young man sneered and said, "What's so strange about not having an invitation letter? It just means that he's not qualified. All right, there's no other problem. That's all." "Emissary." Lin Xueqi gritted her teeth and called out again. "Emissary, is there a mistake? With Lu Ming's talent and reputation, how could he not have an invitation letter? Can you help me ask the higher-ups?" "That's right, emissary. I think there's really a mistake. How could Lu Ming, the champion marquis, not have an invitation letter?" Ling Patian also spoke. Even Feng Wuji and Ling Yanqi had an invitation letter. How could Lu Ming not have one? One had to know that Lu Ming could already kill geniuses like the 6 heroes of the Burning Sun Empire. During the battle at the Mystic Essence Sword Sect, he even killed Duanmu Lin with an overwhelming advantage. One had to know that Duanmu Lin had defeated Feng Wuji. Chapter 352. Why? Are you guys doubting me? Or are you doubting the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace? The purple-robed young man's face turned cold as he stared at Lin Xueqi and Ling Patian unkindly. Lin Xueqi and Ling Patian's faces changed drastically. However, whether Lu Ming could participate in the test was related to the Burning Sun Empire situation and the survival of the Mystic Essence Sword Sect in Crimson Cloud Valley. They had to be clear about this. "Emissary, this is a misunderstanding. However, it is strange that Lu Ming did not receive an invitation letter. May I trouble the emissary to inform the higher-ups?" Lin Xueqi gritted her teeth and continued. "How dare you?" Before Lin Xueqi could finish her sentence, the purple-robed young man shouted. At the same time, a terrifying aura burst out from his body. This aura was as heavy as a mountain and as vast as the ocean. It was extremely powerful and mighty. "Half-step king!" Lin Xueqi and Ling Patian exclaimed in unison. At the same time, a powerful aura burst out from their bodies to counteract this force. However, their bodies could not help but sway as they took 3 steps back. Powerful, too powerful. Everyone present was shocked as they stared at the purple-robed young man with their eyes wide open. No one would have imagined that this purple-robed young man was actually a half-step king. He looked like he was only 26 or 27 years old. It was really shocking that he had reached the half-step king realm at such a young age. Moreover, he seemed to be even stronger than Lin Xueqi and Ling Patian. Is this the strength of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace? A random young man who came to the Burning Sun Empire to deliver an invitation letter is actually so powerful. Lu Ming, who was standing at the side, also narrowed his eyes as his face turned grave. Humph. The Emperor Heaven Divine Palace naturally has its reasons for doing things. How can you doubt me? Since this is your first offense, I will not pursue this matter. However, if there is a next time, I don't mind killing you. The purple-robed young man's eyes were gloomy as he spoke coldly. He was full of arrogance. "Sect leader Lin, there is no need to say anything more."
Lu Ming sent a telepathic message to Lin Xueqi. Lin Xueqi and Ling Patian let out a long sigh and did not say anything else. Humph. The purple-robed young man snorted as he waved his sleeves and turned around to leave. Just as he turned around, he glanced at Lu Ming and there was a cold glint in his eyes. Although it was just a flash, Lu Ming still caught it. What's going on? I have never seen this person before, and I don't have any grudges with the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace. Why is there a hint of coldness in his eyes when he looks at me? Lu Ming frowned and pondered. What the hell is going on? Why didn't the champion marquis receive an invitation? Ling Patian had a short temper. As soon as the purple-clothed young man left, Ling Patian shouted, "That's right, this is too strange." Lin Xueqi also frowned, full of worry. Without an invitation letter, one would not be able to take part in the Tian Divine Guards test. It would be fine if Qiu Chongkong didn't join the Tian Divine Guards. But if Qiu Chongkong joined the Tian Divine Guards, even if he was just a reserve Tian Divine Guard, they would still be in danger. Sect leaders Marquis Champion, this old man has a guess, but I don't know if it's true. At this moment, an aged voice resounded, and an old man with snow-white hair walked out. "Senior Hua, what do you think?" Lin Xueqi asked hurriedly. This old man was a senior of the royal family. Even if Hua Zhengxing were still alive, he would still have to address him as royal uncle. His seniority was extremely high, and he was in the martial ancestor realm 9th realm. He was the only martial ancestor realm 9th realm expert left in the royal family. The royal uncle pondered for a moment and said, "This old man likes to make friends in the world. I even have friends in the Shifeng sword sect. I once heard a secret rumor. It is said that when Qiu Chongkong was young, he was fancied by an important figure in the Tianxian region's eastern branch palace of the Tian Divine Palace and was accepted as an in-name disciple." What? Qiu Chongkong is an in-name disciple of an important figure in the Tianxian region's eastern branch palace of the Tian Divine Palace? The royal uncle's words were like a bomb that exploded in everyone's minds. Everyone looked at the royal uncle in shock. "Senior, is what you said true?" Lin Xueqi's voice was trembling. The royal uncle nodded and said, "It should be true." The sound of people sucking in cold air rang out, and the atmosphere at the scene fell into an incomparably oppressive and heavy atmosphere. If that's the case, Qiu Chongkong must have done something. Otherwise, with the champion marquis talent, how could he not receive an invitation letter? Lin Xueqi said in a deep voice, and her eyes were filled with seriousness. "What should we do? If Qiu Chongkong has such an important figure as his backer, wouldn't he definitely be able to join the Tian Divine Guards?" A golden-robed elder said. "That might not be the case. The selection of the Tian Divine Guards has its own rules. Having a backer doesn't guarantee a stable entry. In the end, it still depends on one's own strength." Ling Patian said. "That's right." The others nodded. Even so, the atmosphere was still extremely oppressive. "Seniors, there is no need to be so worried. When the time comes, it's just a battle. Who will win? Before the battle, who knows?" At this moment, Lu Ming shouted. There was no sign of discouragement on his face. He stood straight and was still confident and determined, like a divine spear that could shatter the heavens. Different situations call for different actions. So what if Qiu Chongkong had a backer? At most, it would just be a battle. The champion marquis is right. Things haven't reached the worst stage yet. We don't need to be discouraged. Right now, the only way is to continuously improve our strength." Lin Xueqi said. After that, everyone returned to the main hall and discussed for a while before leaving. However, there was a huge burden on everyone's heart that they couldn't let go of for a while. Lu Ming returned to the Red Blood Military Camp's tent and entered the Temple of Paragon. He sat down cross-legged. Strength. No matter what the situation is, as long as I am strong enough, I can solve everything. Lu Ming thought to himself. Then, he waved his hand and a pile of spiritual herbs appeared on the platform. Lu Ming planned to start cultivating the myriad spirit battle body. He hadn't cultivated his physical body for a while because he didn't have any high-level spiritual herbs. The level 1 and level 2 spiritual herbs weren't effective and it was a waste of time. During this period of time, there had been many battles. Lu Ming had killed a large number of martial ancestor realm experts and obtained many level 4 spiritual herbs from their storage rings. Lu Ming's level 5 physical body was already at the small success stage. Only level 4 spiritual herbs could improve his physical body. Immediately, Lu Ming waved his hand and 2 level 4 spiritual herbs appeared in his hand. He started to cultivate the myriad spirit battle body. Not long after, the 2 spiritual herbs turned into myriad spirit chi and seeped into Lu Ming's physical body to strengthen his physical body. After refining the 2 spiritual herbs, he took out 2 more. Time passed slowly as Lu Ming cultivated. Vermilion Bird Courtyard. Yen Lan's residence. Lan are you really going to that place? Yen Lan looked at Mulans anxiously. Grandfather, now that things have come to this, is there any other way? Only by going to that place can we get an invitation letter for Lu Ming. Only then can Lu Ming participate in the selection of the Imperial Sky Divine Guards. Mulans said with determination. Lan you have to think carefully. Chapter 353. Grandpa, given Lu Ming's talent, joining the Dtion Divine Guards is the best choice. He will be able to unleash his talent to his heart's content and achieve greater success. Moreover, this is the only way to save the Mystic Essence Sword sect and ensure your safety. Mulans said. Lan but you? That's too unfair. Yen Lan said worriedly. Grandfather, don't you believe in Lu Ming? I believe in him. As long as he joins the Empyrean Divine Guards, he can truly return me my freedom. Speaking until here, Mulans's eyes shone with a certain light. That was the light of her belief in Lu Ming. It's difficult. Although Lu Ming is extremely talented, that's only in the Blazing Sun Empire. If he were to join the Empyrean Divine Guards, he would be very ordinary. It's difficult to achieve that. Yen Lan sighed repeatedly. Grandfather, I believe in my judgment. Please rest assured that nothing will happen to me. Grandfather, I'll go now. After saying that, Mulans bowed to Yen Lan and then floated away, disappearing from the Vermilion Bird Courtyard. Lu Ming naturally knew nothing about this. In the blink of an eye, 7 days had passed. In 7 days, Lu Ming had refined more than 500 level 4 spiritual herbs and cultivated his physical body to the perfect level 5 physical body. However, at this stage, no matter how many spiritual herbs Lu Ming refined, his physical body could not break through. It was completely stuck at the perfect level 5 physical body. It seems that level 4 spiritual herbs are too low level. They can't help my physical body break through to level 6. Lu Ming thought to himself. Could it be that I need level 5 spiritual herbs or other level 5 treasures? Thinking of this, Lu Ming shook his head and smiled bitterly. Level 5 spiritual herbs or other level 5 treasures were equivalent to kings. They were treasures that even kings could use. How precious would they be? They could only be found by chance. Let's put aside the physical body for now. Perfect level 5 physical body is enough for now. Even among half-step kings, there are not many who have level 5 physical body. Many martial artists who didn't focus on cultivating their physical body couldn't even reach the 5th grade after reaching the half-step king realm. Only after entering the martial king realm and going through the transformation of the power of heaven and earth and the unique true origin of martial kings, could one's physical body reach the 5th grade. In other words, Lu Ming's current physical body was no longer inferior to those martial kings who did not specially cultivate their physical bodies. Of course, that was only his physical body. His battle prowess was still worlds apart from that of a martial king. After that, Lu Ming began to comprehend the 9 dragons ascending heaven steps. The 9 dragons' heaven-treading steps and the last palm of the 3 Tao palms, the heaven's path palm, were the martial skills that Lu Ming cultivated every day. However, these 2 martial skills were too difficult to cultivate. Until now, Lu Ming had yet to successfully cultivate the 2nd step of the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps. As for the heaven's path palm, he was completely clueless about it. In the blink of an eye, another 5 days had passed. There were only a few days left before the preliminaries for the Dtion Divine Guards would begin. On this day, Mulans came to look for Lu Ming. Senior Sister Mullins, I heard that you went out during this period of time? Upon seeing Mullins, Lu Ming asked with a smile.
Yes.
Mullins replied with a low hum. Looking at Lu Ming, she seemed to be deep in thought.
Senior Sister Mullins seems to have something on her mind.
Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. However, since Mullins did not say anything, he did not ask. After a while, Lu Ming's palm glowed. Suddenly, a golden piece of paper appeared. This is the invitation letter for the Tion Divine Guard selection? Lu Ming's eyes lit up and he could not help but blurt out. Mullins nodded.
Then, she opened the invitation letter and revealed the words inside.
Scorching Sun Empire, Lu Ming. There were 6 big golden words on the invitation letter. How could it be me? Lu Ming's eyes narrowed as he exclaimed in disbelief. At first, Lu Ming thought that Mullins had taken out an invitation letter from someone else, such as Feng Wuji or Ling Yanqi. He had never expected that his name would be on the invitation letter. Lu Ming. This is the invitation letter for the Tion Divine Guard selection. Take it. I hope that you can surpass Chiu Chongkong and successfully join the Tion Divine Guards. At this moment, Mullins revealed a faint smile. Senior Sister Mullins, where did you get this invitation letter from? Lu Ming asked. He was extremely curious. The invitation letter from the Tion Divine Palace could not be faked. This was because there were special inscriptions on it that were very easy to identify. No one would dare to fake it unless they were tired of living. Your senior apprentice sister is very resourceful. Naturally, I have my own methods. You don't have to worry about this. Take it and perform well. Mullins handed the invitation letter to Lu Ming and smiled. Lu Ming received it in a daze. Lu Ming, from today onwards, I might have to leave the Mystic Essence Sword sect.
Suddenly, Mullins let out a long sigh.
What? Senior Sister Mullins, you want to leave the Mystic Essence Sword sect? Are you going to train or? Lu Ming asked hurriedly. He felt that something was amiss. Neither. Mullins shook her head and looked at Lu Ming carefully. After a while she said, Lu Ming, as long as you join the Tion Divine Guards, we might be able to meet again. With that, Mullins suddenly went forward and hugged Lu Ming. Lu Ming was stunned. In the next moment, he felt 2 lumps of meat pressing against his chest. They were shockingly bouncy. Mullins's body fragrance wafted to his nose, causing Lu Ming's heart to beat rapidly. Mullins hugged Lu Ming tightly. After a long while, she suddenly let go of Lu Ming. Her face was flushed red. She glanced at Lu Ming and then turned to leave. Lu Ming, join the Tion Divine Guards. I look forward to seeing you again. Her voice drifted over, but the beauty had already disappeared. Senior Sister Mullins. Lu Ming looked in the direction that Mullins left in a daze. He didn't come back to his senses for a long time. After a long while, Lu Ming finally came back to his senses. What exactly is going on? Why does Senior Sister Mullins have an invitation letter from the Tion Divine Palace? Also, where is she going? Lu Ming's heart was filled with doubts. Swoosh! Lu Ming moved and appeared in the air. He looked into the distance and realized that Mullins had already left. He didn't know where she went. Dean, yes, let's ask the Dean. Lu Ming thought of Yen Lan. Yen Lan was Mulan's grandfather. He should know the inside story. After a while, Lu Ming found Yen Lan in the Vermilion Bird Courtyard. After not seeing him for a while, Yen Lan seemed to have aged quite a bit. Lu Ming's heart tightened as he felt that something was wrong. Lu Ming, have a seat. Yen Lan invited Lu Ming to sit down and poured a cup of tea for Lu Ming. I knew that you would look for me. You want to ask about Lan right? Yen Lan said. That's right. Lu Ming nodded and immediately asked him about his doubts. Yen Lan was silent as if he was deep in his memories. After a while he sighed. Lu Ming, I'll tell you everything. Lan that girl, is stubborn and refuses to say anything. Lu Ming, you know that I am Lan grandfather, but you have never seen Lan parents, right? Yen Lan said. Lu Ming was stunned and shook his head. He had indeed never seen Mulins's parents and had never heard Mullins mention them. Lan mother passed away long ago. Lan Er's father is an important figure in the Di Tian Divine Palace. Chapter 354. What? Lu Ming was dumbfounded and shocked. Mulan's father was actually a big shot in the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace. This was completely out of his expectations. Since Mulan's father was a big shot in the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace, why would Mulan stay in the Mystic Essence Sword sect and not cultivate in the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace? The cultivation conditions in the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace were definitely not something the Mystic Essence Sword sect could compare with. As if he had seen through Lu Ming's thoughts, Yanlan continued. Lan Er's father is a big shot in the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace. He is extremely domineering and arbitrary. Before Lan Er turned 15, she had always been in the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace. However, her father kept her in check. Later on, without Lan Er's consent, he arranged a marriage for her. The marriage partner was a peerless genius in the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace. However, Lan Er did not like him at all. Hence, she ran out of the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace in a fit of anger and came to my place. Yanlan's answer dispelled many of Lu Ming's doubts. Lu Ming understood. His invitation letter must have been obtained by Mulan's after she returned to the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace. This also made Lu Ming even more worried. He said, "Did Senior Sister Mulan's return to the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace this time? Wouldn't she have to face the marriage?" He did not know why, but when he thought of Mulan's getting married to someone else, he felt uncomfortable in his heart. That's right. In order to get that invitation letter, Lan Er had already promised her father to stay in the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace. Now, the only person who can save her and prevent her from getting married to someone she doesn't like is you. Yanlan said. Me. Lu Ming was stunned. That's right. Lan Er had once made an agreement with her father. Lan Er said that the person she liked would definitely be stronger than the genius in the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace. Sooner or later, she would bring the person she liked to the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace to defeat that genius and cancel the marriage. This person is you. Yanlan looked at Lu Ming with bright eyes. Me. I. Lu Ming's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. The person Mulan's liked? Him. Lu Ming's little heart immediately started beating rapidly. He thought of the various things that happened when Mulan's left. Lu Ming took a deep breath and calmed himself down. He said firmly, "Dean, don't worry. I will definitely join the Di Tian Divine Guards, defeat that genius, and return Senior Sister Mulan's freedom." That genius. Only. Martial King. Lu Ming's pupil shrank sharply. Nah. Lu Ming was 18 years old. He was almost 19 years old. However, Lu Ming did not have the slightest confidence that he could break through the Martial King realm at the age of 21. He was indeed a peerless and terrifying genius. Compared to him, the geniuses of the Blazing Sun Empire, no. Even the geniuses on the Emperor leaderboard were a pile of trash. After a while, Lu Ming's eyes exploded with a strong fighting spirit and an unwavering will. He said, "Dean, don't worry. No matter how strong he is, I will defeat him sooner or later and set Senior Mulan's free." All right. Lan Er believes in you. I also believe in you. However, Lu Ming, with your current cultivation and combat strength, it will be very difficult for you to join the Di Tian Divine Guards. I hope you can make another breakthrough. Yanlan's eyes seemed to have a glimmer of hope. After that, Lu Ming chatted with Yanlan for a while. Then he took his leave. A day later, the news that Lu Ming had received an invitation to join the Di Tian Divine Guards spread among the upper echelons of the Mystic Essence Sword sect and the Crimson Cloud Valley. This shocked those who knew about it, but it was soon followed by ecstasy. Although they were curious about how Lu Ming had received the invitation, this was not the main point. The main point was that Lu Ming could participate in the Di Tian Divine Guard selection, which gave them a glimmer of hope. At this time, the preliminaries of the 36 countries of Emperor Yun were getting closer and closer. It was time to depart. Lu Ming bid farewell to Lu Yuntian and Li Ping. As for Qiu Yu, she said that she had not seen Lu Yuntian and Li Ping for a long time and wanted to stay by their side to take care of them. Lu Ming naturally agreed. As for Xian Yanqing, he wanted to go with Lu Ming. His reason was to see the geniuses of the 36 countries of Emperor Yun. 2 days later, Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Feng Wuji, and Ling Yanqi left the Mystic Essence Sword sect and headed west. Lu Ming did not bring the golden-eyed blood zombie or Yan Quan. Now was the time of the war. The golden-eyed blood zombie and Yan Quan were important battle forces. If they left, it would be disadvantageous for the war. Moreover, Lu Ming intended to leave the golden-eyed blood zombie behind to protect Lu Yuntian and Li Ping. The Cloud Desolate Empire was one of the 8 mid-sized empires of the Cloud Emperor mountain range. However, it was strong and ranked first among the 8. Therefore, the preliminaries of the Cloud Emperor mountain range were held in the imperial capital of the Cloud Desolate Empire. From the Mystic Essence Sword sect, they had to pass through 8 empires. It was a journey of more than 700,000 miles. It was a very long journey. However, with everyone's cultivation, if they flew at full speed, it was still quite easy for them to fly 10,000 miles in an hour. Including the rest time, they used 5 days to reach the imperial capital of the Cloud Desolate Empire. The Cloud Desolate Empire was indeed the strongest empire of the 36 countries of Emperor Yun. Just the imperial capital alone was more than 10 times bigger than the imperial capital of the Scorching Sun Empire. It was majestic and vast, with no end in sight. On the city walls, rows of armored soldiers were patrolling. Lu Ming glanced at them and his eyes narrowed. These armored soldiers were all martial grandmasters. Each of them had a powerful aura and their eyes were penetrating. Lu Ming sighed inwardly. The strength of the #1 empire of the Cloud Emperor mountain range was truly astonishing. Walking through the city gate, it was incomparably spacious. The street was 200 meters wide. On the street, there were all kinds of beast roars. Many people were riding on various mounts and strolling on the street. Lu Ming even saw a martial artist riding a giant python that was more than 30 meters long and as thick as a water tank, strolling on the streets. On both sides of the street, there were many shops. Some of the spiritual weapon shops were shining with treasure. Some of the spiritual medicine shops were filled with medicinal fragrance. Lu Ming and the others walked and looked, exclaiming in admiration. Along the way, they could see young warriors walking by from time to time. They were all dignified and had extraordinary auras. One look and one could tell that they were dragons and phoenixes among men. They were probably here to participate in the preliminaries. Brother Lu, Brother Feng, Miss Xia, let's find a place to eat. We have been rushing for the past few days and haven't had a good meal. Our mouths are almost dry. Ling Yanqi rubbed his stomach and grinned. All right. Lu Ming nodded. The few of them walked for a while and arrived in front of a restaurant. Drunken Pleasure Restaurant was the name of this restaurant. It was 7 stories tall and covered an area of 10 acres. It was incomparably spacious. Guests, please come in. Chapter 355. The 4 of them followed the waiter to the 5th floor of the restaurant. The 5th floor was very spacious. On one side, there were private rooms and on the other side there was a hall. They did not order a private room. Instead, they found a seat by the window and sat down. From this position, they could see a lake by the window. The surface of the lake was clear like a mirror. When the breeze blew, it was very comfortable. Waiter, what's good to eat? Bring it to me. Also, give me 4 jars of good wine. Ling Yanqi shouted. Okay. The waiter answered. He was very fast. Soon, a table of dishes was served. The 4 of them ate while listening to other people's conversations in the restaurant. It's so lively recently. The geniuses can't sit still anymore. There are always fights. That's right. I've seen the fights on the Emperor Yun board several times. Their cultivation is really shocking. The ordinary geniuses on the Emperor Yun board are not that bad. Especially those who are ranked at the top. Half a month ago, Ji Rufeng, the genius ranked 7th on the Emperor Yun board, killed 3 experts of the advanced stage of martial ancestor realm with 1 strike at Tianyuan Peak. That's terrifying. That's nothing. I heard that 10 days ago, a sect offended young master Tianxi, Wei Tianxi, who is ranked 2nd on the Emperor Yun board. Wei Tianxi went to the sect and killed the whole sect. That sect had several experts of the 9th stage of martial ancestor realm.
What? How could that happen? Wei Tianxi is too terrifying. Lu Ming and the other three heard the discussions around them. Feng Wuji and Ling Yanqi were shocked. There was a grave expression in Lu Ming's eyes. Lu Ming could not kill 3 martial artists of the advanced stage of martial ancestor realm with one strike, let alone kill a sect with several experts of the 9th stage of martial ancestor realm. The geniuses ranked at the top of the Emperor Yun board were indeed amazing. Also, young Master Hualing recently appeared. He defeated Yuan Jifei, who is ranked 15th on the Emperor Yun board. He is the strongest dark horse. That's right. He is the strongest among the rising stars. Have you forgotten? There is another person who is also a dark horse. Oh, who is it? Qiu Wuyang. This person was born in the small Burning Sun Empire, but he rose to power. He was ranked 36th on the Emperor Cloud leaderboard, and recently, he killed the 22nd genius on the Emperor Cloud leaderboard. I heard that 5 days ago, Qian Jun, who was ranked 11th on the Emperor Cloud leaderboard, was defeated by him. What? Qian Jun actually lost to Qiu Chongkong? Qiu Chongkong is so terrifying. He's going to rush into the top 10. In the Cloud Emperor mountain range, the young people of this generation are indeed strong. I wonder if they can compete with the geniuses from the other regions. Qiu Chongkong has become so strong. Feng Wuji muttered when he heard this, and his eyes were filled with shock and fear. We are all part of the 6 heroes of the Burning Sun, but the gap between us and him is too great. Ling Yanqi sighed, also very solemn. The stronger Qiu Chongkong was, the more disadvantageous it would be for them. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. He didn't say anything and just drank his wine. Xian Yanqing curled his lips slightly, as if he was disdainful. Next, the 4 of them ate while listening. Creak. At this moment, the door of a private room on the other side opened and 4 young men walked out. These 4 young men were wearing blue robes with a sky blue long saber embroidered on them. They are from the Blue Saber family of the Cloud Desolate Empire. Could the person in the private room be a big shot from the Blue Saber family? I know who he is. It's the 2nd son of the Blue Saber family, Blue Cloud Fei. I saw him go in just now. Seeing the 4 young men in blue robes, the surrounding people started to discuss. However, their voices were very low, as if they were afraid of them. The 4 young men from the Blue Saber family walked towards Lu Ming and the other 3. When they arrived beside the 4, one of the young men in blue robes cupped his fists and said, "May I know where the 4 of you are from?" Although he cupped his fists, his tone was arrogant, as if he was giving an order. Lu Ming frowned slightly. He didn't like the other party's attitude. "We are from the Burning Sun Empire." Feng Wuji obviously didn't want to offend them, so he stood up and cupped his fists. Burning Sun Empire? When the 4 young men in blue robes heard this, their eyes were filled with disdain. "So you are from the Burning Sun Empire, that god-forsaken place. All right, I won't talk nonsense with you. My 2nd young master is inviting a friend here for a banquet. This girl looks pretty good, so he wants to invite her over to drink with him. All right, follow me," one of the young men in blue robes said with disdain. He then looked at Xian Yanqing and ordered. So they were here because they had their eyes on Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming frowned again, while Feng Wuji and Ling Yanqi looked anxious. Xian Yanqing's eyes were filled with cold killing intent. He casually glanced at the 4 young men in blue robes and said indifferently, "What kind of dog is your 2nd young master? Is he worthy of me drinking with him?" When he said this, the 4 young men in blue robes' faces changed. The other people in the restaurant were also shocked. It's over. A mere girl from the Burning Sun Empire dares to call Blue Cloud a dog. She's doomed. She's doomed. The Burning Sun Empire is too small. Other than Qiu Chongkong, there are no other geniuses. Even her knowledge is so shallow. She even dares to offend the Blue Blade family. The other people in the restaurant lowered their voices and discussed softly, as if they were afraid of being heard by the Blue Blade family. "Bitch, you! What did you just say?" One of the young men in blue robes pointed at Xian Yanqing and roared. "What did you call me? Slap yourselves, 100 slaps each. Otherwise, I'll break your legs." Xian Yanqing glanced at them and said coldly.
The others were shocked. Crazy, too crazy. The Blue Blade family was crazy, but Xian Yanqing was even crazier than them. Sigh. It's over. This little girl has the temper of a princess. I think she is a rare genius in the Scorching Sun Empire and is used to being arrogant. But this is not the Scorching Sun Empire, but the Cloud Wilderness Empire, where the geniuses of the 36 countries of the Cloud Wilderness gather. In the restaurant, someone shook his head and sighed. What did you say? Break our legs? Ha ha, what a joke. A mere trash from the Burning Sun Empire dares to say that she wants to break our legs. What a joke. The 4 young men in blue robes sneered. Bitch, I originally wanted you to drink with us. Now, not only do you have to drink with us, you have to sleep with us. Get over there. One of the young men in blue robes clawed at Xian Yanqing's hair. His claw contained powerful true qi. This young man in blue robes was actually a martial ancestor Realm 3 expert. Feng Wuji and Ling Yanqi's faces changed as they shouted, "Be careful." Bam. In the next moment, a figure flew out. It was the young man in blue robes. He flew for more than 10 meters and crashed into a few tables and chairs. He fell to the ground and screamed. Chapter 356. Everyone else was stunned. The blue-robed youth was definitely not weak. He was young and had already reached the 3rd rank martial ancestor realm. He was definitely an elite nurtured by the Blue Blade family, and his combat strength was not something an ordinary martial artist of the same rank could compare to. However, he could not even last one move from Xian Yanqing. Many people didn't even see when Xian Yanqing made his move. Only a small portion of the geniuses were able to see how Xian Yanqing attacked. Little bitch, how dare you hit someone from the Blue Blade family? You're courting death. Attack, attack together. Take down this bitch and torture him. Boom, boom, boom. The remaining 3 blue-robed youths roared and a powerful aura exploded from their bodies. Each of them was a 3rd rank martial ancestor realm. When the 3 of them joined forces, their power was terrifying. Feng Wuji and Ling Yanqi's faces changed and they were about to help. However, Lu Ming smiled at them and told them not to worry. Slap them. At this moment, Xian Yanqing shouted coldly. He waved his hands and black lotuses appeared. Then, the black petals were like divine blades and they destroyed the attacks of the 3 youths. Shush! Xian Yanqing moved and appeared in front of the 3 youths. He slapped them. Slap, slap, slap. 3 loud slaps were heard and the 3 blue-robed youths were sent flying. Shush! Shush! Before the 3 youths landed on the ground, Xian Yanqing waved his hand and the lotus petals flew towards the legs of the 3 blue-robed youths. Stop! A furious roar came from the private room. However, Xian Yanqing did not bother and the black petals did not stop. Poof! Poof! The black petals landed on the legs of the 3 blue-robed youths. When the 3 blue-robed youths fell to the ground, their legs were covered in blood and wounds. Even their bones were exposed. Gasps could be heard from all around. What powerful combat strength and ruthless means. Since he said he would break their legs, he immediately broke their legs. Shush! At this moment, the sound of something breaking through the air rang out. A blue figure rushed out from the box and appeared in the hall. The young man was about 23 or 24 years old. He wore a sky blue tight-fitting robe, a blue jade belt around his waist, and a pair of blue gold boots. He was filled with a luxurious air. However, his expression was as gloomy as the winter. Blue Cloud Fei, it's really him. It's over. That woman is finished. Even her companions are dead for sure. They even dared to beat up the people of the Blue Blade family. Blue Cloud Fei will definitely not let this go. Although Blue Cloud Fei didn't enter the Cloud Emperor leaderboard, he is very close to it. I heard that he has already said that he will definitely enter the Cloud Emperor leaderboard this time. Except for the geniuses on the Cloud Emperor leaderboard, there are only a few who can fight with Blue Cloud Fei. The other people in the restaurant looked at Xian Yanqing, including Lu Ming, as if they were looking at a dead man. I just asked you to stop. Didn't you hear me? Blue Cloud Fei looked coldly at Xian Yanqing. His eyes were filled with amazement. Previously, when he was in the box, he didn't have a good look. Now that he had a closer look,
he realized that Xian Yanqing was even more stunning. His lust was instantly aroused. I heard you. But who are you? Do I have to follow your orders just because I heard you? Xian Yanqing looked at Blue Cloud Fei with disdain. Do you know the consequences of not following my orders? If I take action, you will either die or be severely injured. Lan Yunfei sneered and continued, however, I can let you go because you're a woman. How about this? I'll lock up the 3 of them first. As for you, you'll come back with me and serve me. If you serve me well, I'll consider letting you go. What do you think? This condition is already the biggest concession I can make. Blue Cloud Fei said. His eyes flashed with lust as he looked at Xian Yanqing. Xian Yanqing frowned. On the other hand, Lu Ming, Feng Wuji, and Ling Yanqi were dumbstruck. Is there something wrong with this guy? Didn't he see that there were 4 of them and only 1 of him? He even said that he would lock them up first and let Xian Yanqing go back and serve him. Wasn't he feeling too good about himself? Lu Ming had seen many people who felt good about themselves, but this guy in front of him was definitely the first. Brother Feng, Brother Ling, why am I so unlucky? Everywhere I go I meet idiots. Even when I am having a meal, I can meet such a weird idiot. I am speechless. Lu Ming picked up a cup of wine and drank it in one gulp. He sighed. Feng Wuji and Ling Yanqi looked at each other and didn't say anything. They weren't as brave as Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming didn't lower his voice. It spread across the entire floor of the restaurant. There was dead silence at the scene. Everyone was staring at Lu Ming in a daze. Lu Ming dared to say that to Blue Cloud Fei? Why were the people of the Burning Sun Empire so arrogant? What a country bumpkin. He doesn't know how high the sky is. Many people thought. Kid, who are you talking about? Blue Cloud Fei screamed in anger. His face was twisted as he looked at Lu Ming eerily. I am talking about whoever answered me. Lu Ming continued to pick up his cup and replied indifferently. He then drank it in one gulp. Courting death. Courting death. Now, I take back what I said. You are dead. Nothing can save you. Blue Cloud Fei roared in anger. A powerful aura exploded from his body. A sword radiance shot out and slashed at Lu Ming. I am your opponent. Xian Yanqing's eyes turned cold. He waved his hands and a black lotus appeared in front of the sword radiance. Clang! The sword radiance hit the black lotus and sparks flew. The sword radiance was blocked. How dare you stop me? I will kill you too. Blue Cloud Fei was furious. His killing intent surged. His combat sword hummed and sharp sword chi slashed at Xian Yanqing. Peak Martial Ancestor Realm 4th Realm. Blue Cloud Fei's cultivation had reached the Peak Martial Ancestor Realm 4th Realm. No wonder he was only second to the geniuses on the Emperor Yun board. The lower-ranked geniuses on the Emperor Yun board were only at the early stage of Martial Ancestor Realm 5th Realm. Who do you think you can kill? Xian Yanqing sneered and a powerful aura exploded from his body. Late Martial Ancestor Realm 4th Realm. During this period of time, Xian Yanqing had made great progress. His rank 7 Imperial bloodline was fully utilized. Heavenly Demon's Great Palm Print. Xian Yanqing waved his hands and palm prints blasted out toward Blue Cloud Fei. Xian Yanqing's martial skill was unknown. When she was in the Martial Grand Master Realm, she had used the same martial skill. Now that she was in the Martial Ancestor Realm, she was using the same martial skill. Moreover, as Xian Yanqing's cultivation increased, the power of the martial skill became more terrifying. Boom! Boom! In an instant, the palm prints and sword radiance clashed 8 times and there were 8 explosions. Of course, the 2 of them had intentionally compressed their true chi in their moves and did not spread it out. Otherwise, the entire restaurant would have been blown up. No ordinary person could build such a big restaurant in the imperial capital of the Cloud Region Empire. If the restaurant was destroyed, it would be difficult to explain. After 8 moves, Blue Cloud Fei retreated 8 steps. He was at a disadvantage. Chapter 357. How could an unknown girl from the Burning Sun Empire suppress Blue Cloud Fei? How was this possible? If not for the fact, they would not have believed it. Ah! Go to hell!
Lan Yunfei was enraged. His eyes emitted cold killing intent as he roared. Bloodlight flashed and a sky-blue broadsword appeared. 2 silver chakras revolved around the broadsword. This was Blue Cloud Fei's bloodline, a level 2 king-class bloodline. Slash. Blue Cloud Fei's combat strength increased as his bloodline burst out. He slashed at Xian Yanqing. I don't want to play with you anymore. Xian Yanqing Fei's eyes turned cold. She raised her slender hand as if she was pinching a flower. At this moment, another slender hand appeared in the air. This jade-like hand wasn't real. It was at least 10 times larger than Xian Yanqing's hand. It was perfect and flawless, like the most perfect piece of art. Just like Xian Yanqing's hand, it was in the shape of a flower, filled with a devilish charm. Break! Xian Yanqing Fei shouted and flicked her finger. Bam! Blue Cloud Fei's broadsword radiance was shattered instantly. The finger force did not stop and shot at Blue Cloud Fei. Blue Cloud Fei's expression changed. It was too late for him to dodge. He could only block with his broadsword. With a loud bang, Blue Cloud Fei grunted and was pushed back dozens of meters. He crashed into a few tables before regaining his balance. Blood spurted out of his mouth. Sizzle. The sound of people sucking in cold breaths could be heard all around. Xian Yanqing Fei was too powerful. Blue Cloud Fei was no match for her even before she unleashed her bloodline. Since when did the Burning Sun Empire have such a powerful genius other than Qiu Chongkong? Get down! Xian Yanqing Fei shouted again and pressed her palm down. That huge hand pressed down on Blue Cloud Fei at the same time. Blue Cloud roared and unleashed his full strength, slashing upwards with his saber. However, with a bang, the saber light was instantly shattered, and the palm continued to press down. Blue Cloud roared. Whoosh! At this moment, the sound of something breaking through the air came from the staircase. A figure rushed up like lightning and arrived in front of Blue Cloud, throwing a punch upward. Boom! Waves of air swept out, and the fist force in the palm disappeared. At this time, everyone saw that there was another person in front of Blue Cloud. It's him? Yang Liuji. Blue Cloud Empire's Yang Liuji, ranked 33rd on the Cloud Emperor leaderboard. Could he be the one that Blue Cloud Empire invited to this banquet? When they saw who it was, exclamations of surprise could be heard from the surroundings once again. It's actually him? Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. Back in the ruins of Imperial Cloud Palace, Lu Ming had fought with Yang Liuji. In the end, Lu Ming defeated Yang Liuji with the help of the Golden Eye Blood Zombie. Xian Yanqing was also stunned as he recognized Yang Liuji. However, Feng Wuji and Ling Yanqi's expressions changed drastically. The Burning Sun Empire and the Blood Zhao Empire were close to each other, so they had long heard of Yang Liuji's name. Brother Yang, you're finally here. Seeing Yang Liuji, Blue Cloud was overjoyed. Brother Lan, I'm sorry that I'm late, Yang Liuji said. Then he looked around. When he saw Xian Yanqing and Lu Ming, he was stunned. Then, cold murderous intent shot out from his eyes. Little bastard, it's you? Haha, good. I've searched high and low for you, only to find you by chance. Since you've met me today, you won't be leaving. Yang Liuji revealed a sinister smile. When he came out from the ruins of Emperor Yun's palace, he had wanted the seniors of the Great Sun Empire to kill Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming had escaped too quickly. He had searched all around the ruins of Emperor Yun's palace but could not find Lu Ming. During this period, he hated Lu Ming to the core. He did not expect to meet him here. He was so happy that he almost laughed out loud. What's wrong? You're looking for a beating again, aren't you? Lu Ming said indifferently. The surrounding people were stunned. Judging from Lu Ming's tone, Yang Liuji must have been defeated by Lu Ming before. It can't be, right? If that's the case, the Burning Sun Empire is too terrifying. Nonsense. Little bastard. Back then, you only relied on an external force, a puppet. Now that your puppet is gone, I'll kill you in 3 moves. Yang Liuji shouted and corrected Lu Ming. The others suddenly realized that Lu Ming had relied on external forces. No wonder. If it wasn't his own strength, it would be useless. They let out a long sigh. If the Burning Sun Empire was so powerful, how could they endure it? Kill me in 3 moves? You alone? Aren't you afraid of laughing your head off? Lu Ming continued to speak indifferently. This nonchalant attitude caused Yang Liuji's anger to soar. You're courting death. Yang Liuji shouted angrily. His body emitted a scorching aura that made the restaurant seem like a furnace. Xian Yanqing moved and stood in front of Yang Liuji. Little Qing, you don't have to do anything to deal with him. Let me play with him. Lu Ming picked up a cup of wine and drank it in one gulp. Then, he stood up and walked toward Yang Liuji. Hurry up and finish him. We haven't finished our meal. Xian Yanqing glanced at Lu Ming before he sat back down at the table and ordered. His tone was casual, as if Lu Ming could easily deal with Yang Liuji. This caused the surrounding people to be stunned. Haha, I know you care about me. You are worried that the food won't taste good when it gets cold. Don't worry. Once I finish him, the food won't get cold. Lu Ming laughed. Everyone else's lips started to tremble. These two people were more confident than the other. They were still thinking about eating, and the dishes wouldn't even get cold. Come on, your opponent is Yang Liuji, a genius on the Cloud Emperor leaderboard, not a nobody on the street. Arrogant, too arrogant. Yang Liuji was so angry that he almost vomited blood. He felt a throbbing pain in his heart, liver, spleen, lungs, and kidneys. He took a few deep breaths and forced himself to calm down. It's useless to rely on your mouth. You will pay for your stupidity soon. Yang Liuji roared. The scorching aura on his body became more intense. He was like a sun and almost set the restaurant on fire. It's too narrow here. Let's go out and fight. Lu Ming said. Okay, that's what I want. Yang Liuji shouted angrily. The two of them moved and flew out of the window. They appeared in the sky above the small lake outside the window. At that moment, the people on the other floors of the restaurant were alerted. They looked out one by one. That's Yang Liuji. Yang Liuji is going to fight with someone. Who is the other person? Is he also a genius on the Cloud Emperor leaderboard? No, there is no such person on the Cloud Emperor leaderboard. He is so young. He looks less than 20 years old. This person dares to fight with Yang Liuji. There will be a good show. The people on the other floors of the restaurant were discussing. Go to hell. As soon as Yang Liuji left the restaurant, he roared and the aura on his body exploded. Peak Martial Ancestor Realm 5th Realm. Apparently, Yang Liuji's cultivation had improved during this period of time. Back in the Cloud Emperor Palace, Yang Liuji's cultivation was only at the early stage of Martial Ancestor Realm 5th Realm. Boom! A powerful fire aura exploded and made Yang Liuji look like a small sun. He exuded a scorching aura and the lake below started to boil. Steam started to rise. Divine Sun Fist. Chapter 358. A fist radiance that was as bright as the sun shot towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming threw out a palm and a huge palm print appeared and collided with the fist radiance. After a loud explosion, the fist radiance and the palm print dissipated. One move. Lu Ming muttered. Didn't Yang Liuji say that he would kill him in 3 moves? Suemo calculated for him. Yang Liuji's face changed. Lu Ming was actually able to block one of his moves. His gaze turned grave. Divine Sun Fist, sky-shattering fist radiance. Yang Liuji roared again and threw out a punch. This punch was even more terrifying and it was as bright as the sun. Yang Liuji, who had reached the peak of Martial Ancestor Realm 5, had terrifying combat strength. An ordinary martial artist who was at the peak of Martial Ancestor Realm 7 would only have such combat strength. Beast Dao Palm. Lu Ming threw out another palm. A huge beast claw appeared and grabbed at the fist radiance that was as bright as the sun. Poof! The fist force that was as bright as the sun was extinguished by the beast's claw like a pitiful little flame. 2 moves. Lu Ming said again. The spectators were stunned. Especially the people on the 5th floor. They were even more shocked. Lu Ming was able to fight against Yang Liuji. This was unbelievable. The Blazing Sun Empire was too terrifying. Experts were emerging one after another. Ah! Damn it, Divine Sun Fist. Burn the world. Yang Liuji roared angrily and used his strongest move. At the same time, his bloodline power exploded. His bloodline was also at level 2 king class. Splash! The lake water below churned and actually boiled. A shocking fist radiance came down from the top towards Lu Ming. Break! Lu Ming spoke softly. A long spear appeared in his hands. He dashed upward and thrust his spear. Poof! Poof! The long spear pierced through Yang Liuji's fist radiance and Lu Ming flew up into the sky. 3 moves, Yang Liuji. You said that you would kill me in 3 moves. You want to kill me with such a weak move? What a joke! Lu Ming said contemptuously. Damn it, damn it. How did this little bastard become so strong? How is that possible? Yang Liuji roared in his heart as his expression turned ugly. He stared at Lu Ming and said coldly, I'll let you go today. We'll fight another day. After saying that, he wanted to leave. Another day? Did I say another day? You want to leave after fighting? How can there be such a good thing in this world? Stay here. Lu Ming said coldly. A terrifying aura enveloped Yang Liuji. What do you want? Do you still want to attack me? Audacious. I am a disciple of the Great Sun Abode. Do you understand? I am a disciple of the Great Sun Palace. Yang Liuji roared. You don't have to repeat yourself twice. You're a disciple of the Great Sun Constabulary. What does the Great Sun Constabulary have to do with me? I don't care where you're from. Lu Ming shouted loudly. His aura was wild as he fiercely pulled out his long spear. Boom! A spear light that was hundreds of meters long blasted towards Yang Liuji with the power of wind and fire. While the spear light was still in the air, the lake below was suppressed by the force. The lake water was separated into 2 sides, forming a waterless area that was hundreds of meters long. It was the same shape as the spear light. You! Ah! Yang Liuji roared and unleashed his full strength. He continuously punched the air, trying to block the spear light. But it was useless. The punches were like fireworks, dispersing in one hit. The spear light did not stop there and heavily smashed onto Yang Liuji's body. Yang Liuji's body was like a cannonball as he fell towards the lake. Boom! He crashed heavily into the lake, causing huge waves to rise to the sky. Even the ground shook as a whirlpool appeared on the lake. Everyone saw that Yang Liuji had created a deep hole at the bottom of the lake. The lake water poured out and drowned Yang Liuji. The spectators were all dumbfounded as they watched in a daze. This was too violent. Yang Liuji was defeated in 1 move and Yang Liuji did not have the slightest ability to fight back. Especially the spectators on the 5th level. Their mouths were open so wide that they could swallow a chicken. Crazy. The Burning Sun Empire is crazy. How can there be so many geniuses? Yeah, the Burning Sun Empire's national strength has always been ranked at the bottom. How can there be so many geniuses? What the hell? The spectators on the 5th level shouted in disbelief. Swoosh! At this moment, a figure rushed into the lake and in the next moment, rushed out again. It was Blue Cloud. He was carrying Yang Liuji in his arms. At this moment, Yang Liuji was covered in blood. His face was pale and blood kept dripping from his mouth. His eyes were filled with disbelief, shame, and anger. Previously, he had shamelessly said that he could kill Lu Ming in 3 moves. In the end, Lu Ming had easily taken 3 moves from him. Not only that, but he had also beaten him half to death with 1 move. This made him want to find a hole to hide in. If you don't have the strength, then keep a low profile. Don't always act like you're the best in the world. It's embarrassing. This time, I'll teach you a lesson. Get lost. Lu Ming waved his hand as if he was a senior lecturing a junior. You! Yang Liuji was enraged and he spat out another mouthful of blood. Lu Ming, don't be arrogant. You'd better not meet my big brother in the selection. Otherwise, you'll die a horrible death. Let's go! Blue Cloud Fei shouted angrily. Then he rushed into the sky. Lu Ming smiled and did not take it to heart. With a flash, he returned to the restaurant. Come, let's continue eating. Lu Ming laughed and sat down to eat. The rest of the people in the restaurant were stunned. Brother Lu, We have to be careful of the big brother that Blue Cloud Fei mentioned. Feng Wuji said solemnly. That's right. The fifth genius on the Emperor Yun leaderboard also has the surname Blue Cloud. His name is Blue Cloud Dao. He's most likely Blue Cloud Fei's big brother. Ling Yanqi said solemnly. Although Lu Ming's combat strength was strong, they did not think that Lu Ming could be a match for the top geniuses on the Emperor Yun leaderboard. Those people were too strong. They were all demons. Fifth on the Emperor Yun leaderboard? Lu Ming's eyes flashed and he smiled. He did not mind and continued eating. After a short while, the four of them left the restaurant and walked around for a while before they found an inn to stay in. There were still 3 days before the selection of the Emperor Tian Divine Guards. It was still early. At this moment, news of the battle between Xian Yanqing, Lu Ming, Blue Cloud Fei and Yang Liuji spread quickly. Many people were shocked and they sighed. There were so many geniuses now. Another unknown genius had risen. In the room of the inn, Lu Ming sat with his legs crossed and thought about the previous battle. This was the first time that Lu Ming had fought with a genius on the Emperor Yun leaderboard. Although he looked confident, he did not dare to underestimate his opponent. Yang Liuji was only ranked 33rd on the Emperor Yun leaderboard. However, his cultivation had reached the peak of rank 5 martial ancestor realm, and his combat strength was comparable to an ordinary martial artist who was at the peak of rank 7 martial ancestor realm. In that case, how strong were the geniuses who were ranked at the top? Especially the geniuses who were ranked in the top 10. How strong were they? Lu Ming did not dare to underestimate his opponent. My biggest disadvantage now is that my cultivation is only at the peak of rank 4 martial ancestor realm. I have to find a way to break through as soon as possible. Lu Ming thought to himself. Chapter 359. Immediately, Lu Ming circulated the True Dragon battle art and started polishing his true qi. A day passed in the blink of an eye. On the evening of the second day, the people from the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace actually found them. They sent an invitation letter to Xian Yanqing. It was the invitation letter for the selection of the Tian Divine Guards. It seemed like the news of Xian Yanqing defeating Blue Cloud Fei yesterday had already reached the upper echelons of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. Hence, they sent an invitation letter. With Xian Yanqing's combat strength, he was definitely qualified to receive an invitation letter. The next 2 days were peaceful. No one disturbed Lu Ming and the rest. In the blink of an eye, it was time for the preliminaries of the Emperor Heaven Divine Guards. The preliminaries of the Emperor Heaven Divine Guards were to select a group of elites from the 36 countries of the Cloud Emperor who had received an invitation letter. Only these people were qualified to participate in the selection of the Emperor Heaven Divine Guards. The gathering place for the preliminaries was in front of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace's residence in the Cloud Desolate Royal Capital. Early in the morning, Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Feng Wuji, and Ling Yanqi headed towards the gathering place. The Emperor Heaven Divine Palace's residence in the Cloud Desolate Empire's royal capital was extremely majestic. It was even more majestic than the Cloud Desolate Empire's imperial palace. In front of the residence, there was a wide square. When Lu Ming and the rest arrived, the square was already filled with people. Most of them were people who were here to watch the show. However, there were only a few people in the square. This was because there were people from the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace guarding the square. Only the geniuses who were participating in the preliminaries could enter. If others were discovered, they would be killed without mercy. No one dared to take this risk. When Lu Ming and the rest arrived, they headed straight for the square. Look, the geniuses who are participating in the preliminaries are here. 2 of them look very young. Which empire are they from? I don't know them. They are very unfamiliar. I know. I saw them a few days ago. The 2 young men and women are the ones who defeated Yang Liuji and Blue Cloud Fei 3 days ago. They are geniuses from the Scorching Sun Empire. As the crowd was discussing, someone suddenly shouted, "What? It's them. They're as young as the rumors say." I thought the rumors were exaggerated. I can't believe that the Burning Sun Empire has such a genius. In these few days, the names of Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing had already spread throughout the Cloud Desolate Royal Capital. Many people were very curious and looked at Lu Ming's group of 4. The four of them had also seen big scenes before. Their expressions didn't change. They walked to the square and stood at the side. Looks like we came too early. Feng Wuji smiled and said, "It's a good opportunity to meet the other geniuses." Ling Yanqi's eyes were full of excitement. Time passed slowly, and more people arrived. Without a doubt, they were all young people under the age of 30. Most of them were in their 20s, and very few of them were under the age of 20. Look, that's Lu Xiaofeng, ranked 35th on the Cloud Emperor list. Suddenly, someone pointed at a yellow-robed youth and shouted. And that's Wang Kai, ranked 26th on the Cloud Emperor leaderboard. Gosh, that's Su Yingying, ranked 13th on the Cloud Emperor list. I've heard that Su Yingying is a beauty. She really lives up to her reputation. With the arrival of the geniuses on the Cloud Emperor list, the crowd was very excited. The 36 countries of the Cloud Emperor list were vast, and there were only 36 geniuses on the Cloud Emperor list. Usually, the geniuses on the Cloud Emperor list were scattered all over the place and it was hard to see them. But now, there were so many of them and everyone was excited. Even Feng Wuji and Ling Yanqi looked at the geniuses on the Cloud Emperor list with sparkling eyes. Soon, there were more than 300 people in the square and the number was still increasing. Lu Ming sighed. Those who received the invitation were at least geniuses like the 6 heroes of the Burning Sun Empire. But now, there were hundreds of them. Lu Ming suddenly felt a murderous intent shrouding him. He could not help but turn around to take a look. The most terrifying thing was that a faint smile appeared at the corners of his lips. It was Yang Liuji. They had not seen each other for a few days and Yang Liuji's injuries were almost healed. He looked coldly at Lu Ming. Beside Yang Liuji was a tall young man. He was wearing the same clothes as Yang Liuji. Obviously, he was also from the Sun Mansion of Bloodjiao. He stared at Lu Ming in an unfriendly manner. Yang Liuji is here. Is that Yan Feishuan, the top expert of the younger generation in the Great Sun Empire? It must be him, Yan Feishuan, ranked 9th on the Cloud Emperor list. There were exclamations all around. The top 10 geniuses on the Cloud Emperor list had finally appeared. Yan Feishuan's arrival seemed to have signaled the arrival of the top 10 geniuses. In the sky, there was a flash of blue light and 2 figures appeared in the square. One of the 2 blue-robed young men was Blue Cloud Fei. The other person was tall and slender. He carried a saber on his back, and his aura was wild. Blue Cloud Fei and Blue Cloud Dao. Blue Cloud Dao, ranked 5th, is here. There was another round of exclamations. As soon as Lan Yunfei and Lan Yundao arrived, they scanned the surroundings. In the next moment, they discovered Lu Ming and the group. The 2 of them strode towards Lu Ming and the others. This is going to be interesting. The crowd focused their attention on Blue Cloud Dao and Lu Ming. The geniuses in the square were also watching with interest. Soon, Blue Cloud Fei and Blue Cloud Dao were not far away from Lu Ming and the others. You 2 are Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing? Blue Cloud Fei asked. His eyes fell on Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing, and he did not hide the murderous intent in his eyes. Yes, I didn't expect to be so famous now. Lu Ming smiled and did not care. Xian Yanqing curled his lips and did not even bother to reply. Seeing this, Blue Cloud Dao's face turned gloomy and he said coldly, "You dare to beat up my Blue Blade family. You have guts. However, those who dare to beat up my Blue Blade family are no longer in this world." Is that so? Aren't you afraid of biting your tongue when you talk big? The world is so big and there are so many experts. There are plenty of people who can destroy your clan with a flick of their hand. How dare you say that the people who dared to hit your Blue Blade aristocratic family are no longer in this world? Lu Ming said indifferently and his voice was filled with sarcasm. What did you say? Blue Cloud Dao was furious. Brother Lan, why are you talking nonsense with them? Just kill them. At this moment, Yan Feishuan walked over and said with murderous intent, "You want to kill me? Why don't you try?" Lu Ming's eyes were filled with murderous intent and a powerful aura rose from his body. Xian Yanqing, Feng Wuji, and Ling Yanqi walked to Lu Ming's side and released their auras. They stared at Yan Feishuan, Blue Cloud Dao, and the others. A battle was about to break out. This place does not allow a battle. Violators will be killed. Suddenly, a middle-aged man shouted and a mountain-like pressure rose from his body. This man was a guard of the Tian Divine Palace. Blue Cloud Dao and Yan Feishuan's faces changed and they retracted their auras. Lu Ming and the others also retracted their auras. Humph, I'll let you off today. Lu Ming, I hope you can pass the preliminaries smoothly. At the Tian Divine Guard preliminaries, I'll let you know the consequences of offending the Blue Saber family clan. Chapter 360. Yan Feishuan and Yang Liuji also cast a cold glance at Lu Ming and turned to leave. Monsieur, Brother Lu, you must be careful. Feng Wuji and Ling Yanqi were worried. Don't worry. Lu Ming smiled faintly, looking relaxed. Xian Yanqing was expressionless. Swoosh, swoosh. At this moment, there were sounds of people flying through the air. Qiu Chongkong is here. And the strongest dark horse, Prince Hualing. Someone shouted. Lu Ming looked up and saw a few figures flying down from the sky. One of them was very young, about 21 or 22 years old. He wore a long red robe and his eyes were like lightning. His aura was strong and he looked around with his hands behind his back. This person must be Prince Hualing. The other person was carrying a battle sword. If he wasn't Qiu Chongkong, who else could he be? Qiu Chongkong saw Lu Ming the moment he arrived and his eyes were filled with killing intent. Lu Ming, I don't know how you managed to get your hands on the invitation letter. If you didn't participate in the selection of the Tian Divine Guards, you would have been able to live a little longer. Now that you're here, you're courting death. After the preliminaries, the real preliminaries will be the time of your death. Qiu Chongkong's eyes were cold and his mind was filled with thoughts. He had heard the news that Lu Ming had defeated Yang Liuji and he was shocked. He was shocked that Lu Ming had the invitation letter and was also shocked by Lu Ming's strength. However, he was only shocked at the beginning and was not afraid. He was confident that he could kill Lu Ming. Lu Ming looked at Qiu Chongkong and his eyes were filled with murderous intent. He must kill Qiu Chongkong. Lu Yuntian had been tortured for 8 years because of Qiu Chongkong. Swoosh, swoosh. The sound of people flying through the air could be heard from time to time. Not long after, Jiang Hongwen, who was ranked 3rd on the Emperor Yun board, and Prince Tianxi, who was ranked 2nd, arrived together. Prince Tianxi was wearing a green robe. His face was gloomy and his eyes were cold like a poisonous snake. Anyone who was stared at by him would feel cold. Jiang Hongwen's figure was tall, and his aura was grand and domineering. He was the complete opposite of young Master Heavenly Snake. Up until now, there were nearly 600 people in the square. All of them were dragons and phoenixes among men. Their auras were extraordinary, and when they gathered together, it was incomparably spectacular. Jian Fengyun still hasn't come. Could he be dead? Hee. Suddenly, a gloomy and cold voice sounded out, and it was from young Master Heavenly Serpent. Everyone couldn't help but look at him. Even a poisonous snake like you didn't die. How could Jian Fengyun die? Jiang Hongwen sneered coldly. Many people's expressions changed slightly. There were not many people on the Cloud Emperor leaderboard who dared to speak to young Master Sky Snake like that. Blue Cloud Dao was ranked 5th. He was arrogant and rampant, but in front of Sky Snake young Master, he had to be well behaved. Hee. I heard that Jian Fengyun went to another area to train. It's normal for him to die outside. Young Master Heavenly Snake smiled sinisterly. Jian Fengyun was the #1 genius on the Cloud Emperor leaderboard. He was the #1 expert of the younger generation in the Cloud Emperor's 36 countries. Haha, Wei Tianxi, I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you. At this moment, a loud laugh came from afar. Whoosh! A sword light cut through the void with unbelievable speed. It was clearly still 10 miles away a moment ago, but the next moment, it was above the square. The sword light dissipated, and a young figure appeared. 24 or 25 years old, wearing a gray robe, with a slender figure and bright eyes. His entire person looked like a peerless divine sword that had not been unsheathed. The most eye-catching thing was that there was a long scar on his face. It was very hideous. Jian Fengyun, you're finally here. Young Master Heavenly Serpent's eyes moved, revealing a trace of solemnity. This person was Jian Fengyun, the number 1 on the Cloud Emperor leaderboard. There was a burst of excited discussion at the scene. Why is there an additional scar on Jian Fengyun's face? It wasn't there before. Who's so powerful to leave a scar on Jian Fengyun's face? There was a burst of whispers in the vicinity. Wei Tianxi, I'm here. Are you very disappointed? Jian Fengyun looked at young Master Heavenly Serpent and said, What's there to be disappointed about? You came at the right time. This time, I'll completely defeat you. Young Master Heavenly Serpent sneered, then his eyes flickered as he said, Jian Fengyun, I heard that you went to other regions to train. What's wrong? You were injured? That's too embarrassing. What's there to be embarrassed about? I was training in the Qianjiang water region and was injured by a genius there. I have to tell you that the geniuses of other regions are extremely powerful, far stronger than the Cloud Emperor mountain range. Jian Fengyun said calmly. This caused young Master Heavenly Serpent, Zhang Hongwen, and the other geniuses' faces to turn solemn. Jian Fengyun, what's your ranking in the Qianjiang water region? Young Master Heavenly Serpent asked. 18th. Jian Fengyun said word by word. What? As soon as these words came out, the whole place was in an uproar. The number 1 genius of the Cloud Emperor mountain range was defeated by the 18th genius of the Qianjiang water region and left with a scar on his face. How was that possible? Was the Qianjiang water region really that powerful? Haha, Jian Fengyun, in my opinion, it's not that your opponent is too strong, but that you're too weak. It seems like you've regressed in the past few years. This time, I'll surpass you completely. Young Master Heavenly Serpent burst out laughing. He didn't believe that the Qianjiang water region was that strong. If the 18th genius could defeat Jian Fengyun, wouldn't that mean that there were at least 18 geniuses above him, Prince Sky Snake? And this was just the Qianjiang water region. What about the other regions? With Prince Sky Snake's pride, he definitely didn't believe that so many geniuses could surpass him. He felt that Jian Fengyun was too weak and didn't advance. Many people nodded their heads and were more willing to believe Prince Sky Snake's words. A frog at the bottom of a well. Jian Fengyun smiled faintly and couldn't be bothered to say more. Prince Sky Snake snorted and stood by the side. As of now, the number of people had reached 600. Kaka. At this moment, the door of the Emperor Sky Divine Palace opened and a few figures walked out. Leading them was a white-haired old man in a black robe. The old man had a benevolent look and didn't have any aura around him. He was just like an ordinary person who didn't cultivate. However, no one dared to underestimate him because he was from the Emperor Sky Divine Palace. It seems like everyone is here. Let me introduce myself. My name is Lu Xiu and I'm the host of this preliminary round. When you participate in the real selection, I'll be the one leading you. The old man introduced himself. Greetings, Senior Lu. The geniuses in the square bowed in unison. Lu Xiu nodded his head and said, All right, let's cut to the chase. Follow me. The location of the preliminary round isn't here. With that, Lu Xiu soared into the sky and flew towards the north. The participating geniuses in the square also soared into the sky and followed him. Lu Ming and the other 3 blended into the crowd and didn't attract any attention. The spectators in the square sighed and felt that it was a pity. Chapter 361. The group of 600 people flew above the Cloud Desolate Empire's imperial capital. It was a spectacular sight. Their target was a mountain to the north of the imperial capital. It was only 100 miles away, so they arrived in a flash. Lu Xiu led the group to a flat area in front of 2 mountains. Okay, I'll tell you the rules of the preliminaries. The preliminaries are actually very simple. It's divided into 2 rounds. The first round is to test your force. It will test your understanding of force. Those who haven't reached greater success will be eliminated. Lu Xiu announced loudly. What? We're being eliminated without reaching greater success? Someone yelled in disappointment. Okay, you see the stone pillar in front of you. It's a treasure to test your force. As long as you input your force into the pillar, it will have different colors. It's divided into blue, purple, silver, and gold. They correspond to the entry, initial success, greater success, and perfection of your force. Only when the pillar has a silver color will you pass. Now let's begin. Lu Xiu announced loudly. Lu Ming and the others nodded. The rules were simple. I'll go first. A skinny youth walked out confidently. He walked to the front of the stone pillar and struck out with his palm. A powerful force of wind surged out from his palm and poured into the stone pillar. Instantly, the stone pillar emitted a faint silver light. It was beautiful. Force of wind, early stage of greater success. Pass. Next. Lu Xiu announced. There were naturally people registering on the side. I'll go. A muscular youth walked out and a powerful force poured into the stone pillar. The stone pillar immediately emitted a silver light. It was darker than the previous youths. Force of earth, middle stage of greater success. Pass. Next. Lu Xiu announced. Next, the youths went up one by one. These youths' force had all reached greater success. Some were in the early stage, some were in the middle stage, and only a small number were in the late stage. Those who hadn't reached greater success didn't even go up. I'll go too. Me too. Feng Wuji and Ling Yanqi also went up. Feng Wuji had comprehended the force of wind and had reached the early stage of greater success. Ling Yanqi had comprehended the force of fire and had reached the middle stage of greater success. Soon, more than 400 youths had all passed. At the level of the 6 Blazing Sun heroes, most of the geniuses had already achieved great success in their sure. Of course, there were a few who didn't. However, not a single one of them had reached perfection. Although there was only a single step between mastery and perfection in force, the difference was huge. One was flawed while the other was perfect. The difference in power was several times greater. Yang Liuji is up. Many people's eyes lit up. Until now, none of the geniuses on the Cloud Emperor leaderboard had entered the arena. They wanted to see how powerful the geniuses on the Cloud Emperor leaderboard were. Yang Liuji walked in front of the stone pillar, his body emitting a blazing aura. With a wave of his hand, his power surged into the stone pillar. Wang! The stone pillar trembled and an extremely dense silver light was emitted, making the entire stone pillar look as if it was made of pure silver. Fire force. Great success limit. Lu Xiu announced. He was just a step away from reaching consummation. This was the first person who had reached the peak of great accomplishment in Sure. Lu Ming's eyes were calm and he wasn't surprised at all. He had fought with Yang Liuji before and he was well aware of Yang Liuji's strength. Yang Liuji's appearance had opened the curtains for the geniuses on the Cloud Emperor leaderboard. Following that, the geniuses on the Cloud Emperor leaderboard entered the arena one by one. Unfortunately, most of the geniuses on the Cloud Emperor leaderboard had only reached the peak of great accomplishment. Some of them were only at the late stage of great accomplishment and none of them had reached consummation. Even those who were ranked in the top 10 were only at the peak of great accomplishment. Prince Huiling is up. Someone shouted. Prince Huiling strode forward arrogantly. But he was only at the peak of great accomplishment. After that, Qiu Chongkong, Yan Feishuan and Blue Cloud went up one by one. Unfortunately, none of them had reached the consummation level. This showed how difficult it was to reach the consummation level. I'm going to take the test. Do you want to come along? Xian Yanqing glanced at Lu Ming. Sure. Lu Ming nodded. The two of them attracted a lot of attention. Blue Cloud said. Yan Feishuan, Qiu Chongkong, and Qiu Chongkong looked over coldly. Shall I go first or shall you go first? Xian Yanqing looked at Lu Ming. Either one is fine. Lu Ming said with a smile. Then you go first. Xian Yanqing said. Lu Ming stepped forward and a blazing aura burst out from his body. The force of fire surged into the stone pillar and it immediately turned pure silver. The force of fire has reached the peak of great accomplishment. Lu Xiu announced. Many people weren't surprised. Lu Ming was able to defeat Yang Liuji, so his understanding of force wouldn't be bad. It was normal for him to reach the peak of great accomplishment. Lu Ming smiled and took a few steps back. During this period, he had cultivated the force of fire to the peak of great accomplishment, but it was difficult for him to reach consummation. As for the force of wind, it had reached the peak of lesser accomplishment and was about to reach great accomplishment. Lu Ming believed that the combination of the two forces wouldn't be any weaker than a consummation force. Lu Ming retreated while Xian Yanqing stepped forward. Boom! Suddenly, a terrifying force erupted from Xian Yanqing's body and a green light surrounded him. Whoosh! This was the force of wind. The powerful force of wind surged into the stone pillar. Bas! The stone pillar shook violently and in the next moment, rays of golden light spread out. Golden light! It's golden light! Someone shouted. Consummation force. This woman has cultivated her force to the consummation stage. Terrifying. Monster, why haven't I heard of it before? The surroundings were in an uproar and there were waves of exclamations. Lu Ming was stunned as well. Subsequently, he sighed. A 7th-level king-level bloodline was indeed terrifying. Even the comprehension of force was unique and profound. Yan Feishuan and Blue Cloud said. Qiu Chongkong and the other two's eyes flashed with killing intent. Jian Fengyun, Prince Tianxi and Jiang Hongwen's eyes lit up. Prince Sky Snake, in particular, stared fixedly at Xian Yanqing. His eyes flashed with the flames of greed and lust. Feng Wuji and Ling Yanqi opened their mouths in shock. Force of wind. Consummation. Good, good, good. Lu Xiu laughed and was overjoyed. The stronger the geniuses in the Cloud Emperor mountain range were, the greater his contribution would be and he would be rewarded accordingly. He was naturally happy. Humph. Xian Yanqing retracted his qi and walked to Lu Ming's side. He curled his lips provocatively as if he was saying, "See? I'm stronger than you." Lu Ming smiled bitterly and touched his nose. Next, Lu Xiu shouted, "Let me." Jiang Hongwen strode forward and waved his hand. A force landed on the stone pillar. The stone pillar shook and emitted a golden light. Force, consummation. "Let me." Prince Tianxi stepped forward and his body trembled slightly. A force like a long snake slammed into the stone pillar. In the next moment, golden light spread out. "It's your turn." Prince Tianxi looked at Jian Fengyun. Jian Fengyun smiled and stood still. Suddenly, 2 rays of sword light shot out from his eyes. The sword light was condensed from his force and it landed on the stone pillar. The stone pillar shook violently and emitted a rich golden light. Similarly, force, consummation. From then on, only 4 people's force had reached consummation. You're tuning in to the Xueqi's Martial Arts Saga YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.